Thanks for listening to the Von Haessler Doctrine podcast. Remember, you can hear the show every weekday from 9 to noon right here on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from Sherwood Forest in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, Hour 1 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. I am your lovable, huggable, mid-morning chat host, Eric Von Haessler, surrounded by the Doctrinaires, Tim Andrews, Autumn Fisher, Jared Yamamoto.
Good morning.
I'm kind of laughing because I just looked over at Tim, and he's not wearing his normal headphones. They're very large. They remind me of like...
I'm a widow.
It's like, hey, those like 1970s cans you got on there.
What was that game show where the couples, one would go in the back and they wore the headphones?
Tattletales.
Yeah, with Bert Condrey.
Yes.
Those are some big headphones.
That's what yours look like. It would make me laugh early this morning. So,
when was the last time you made whoopee?
They never asked that question, did they?
Yeah.
Of these old celebrities?
Yes.
People have no idea what we're talking about. You know what we're talking about, Jared?
I have no idea.
That was a game show called Tattletales, and you'd have these celebrities that everybody knew, and they would have their spouses. And then one would go in the back, and they'd have the headphones on so they couldn't hear, and they would ask personal questions, and they would see if they would match. And it was pretty boring, actually, quite honestly. It was the headphones was the reason that I tuned in.
A lot of old people liked it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's something you ought to know. Look back at it in the past. A little Me TV. It wouldn't hurt you every once in a while.
You know, I did watch the...
See what we grew up on.
Yeah.
Well, I told you guys recently that I saw The Rifleman on Me
Rifleman.
TV.
That's before our time.
That's before our time.
I realized that, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a...
The Rifleman was a fine. It was a show. Was it Chuck Connor?
Oh, yeah.
Chuck Connors. And he had this effeminate son who didn't like being in the Wild West or something, as I recall. He was always whining to his dad, I'm scared. I don't know. It was kind of before my time. I've seen more Rifleman on Me TV than in my own time. I'm just rambling here because, I did not, I didn't watch that debate last night because it's too many people. I get annoyed when everyone's talking about how much more of my taxes they want to take away from me. And all I ever hear when I hear Democrats up on stage, I'm a libertarian. I don't have allegiance to either party. But with Democrats, it just always seems to me, this is what I hear. Is it me? Am I being paranoid? What I hear is them saying, it's Eric Von Haessler's fault. If Eric Von Haessler would just chip in a little bit more, if Eric Von Haessler wasn't so damned selfish and self-absorbed, we'd be able to fix the problems in this country. And I'll tell you something, Jared Yamamoto, I disagree with that point of view. I don't think it's my fault. I think I'm doing my part. I think I'm a good guy. So there's 10 of them. It's too many. So what I do is I just wake up the next day, I read about it, and I watch the clips that made it through, and it's enough for me to comment on that nonsense. They say that, one thing, no questions in 3 hours about the economy. And we just went to $1 trillion deficit, and we still have months left in this year. But I'm sure there are plenty of questions about bullying and Kamala Harris. Excuse me, yes, Kamala Harris?
Hey, baby, we'll get to that, the whole deficit thing in due time. But let me just say that, our president is like the character in The Wizard of Oz. The little guy behind the curtain.
Yeah, you mean the Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, the little man in The Wizard of Oz. That's what I mean.
I think that's actually the Wizard of Oz.
Listen, we have to stop this president. This president, I don't like him. I don't think anybody does. I wish that I could.
What was your choice, white or red tonight before you went out there on the debating?
I had a Shiraz.
Out of all the clips, do you have that clip, by the way? And let's go ahead and open things up. Let's do
Headlines
this.
for Friday, September 13th.
Yeah, they had a debate last night.
Spooky. It's Friday the 13th.
Hold on, Kamala. Hold on just a moment,
Good
Kamala.
job, Jared.
By the way, Kamala, that character that you were talking about, the Wizard of Oz, that's the little guy behind the curtain, that in fact is the Wizard of Oz. I just wanted to.
Right, the Wizard of Oz.
Would just
when
be-
they pull that curtain back,
Yeah.
and there's that little man there in the
Yeah,
velvet, the
that's-
crushed purple velvet jacket.
That's the Wizard of Oz.
Which, by the way, I wish I could buy because it's very adorable.
I want to. I just want to have they say you want to have a beer with a candidate. I want to drink some wine with Kamala Harris. I got a feel.
BYOB, darling.
I got a feeling the real Kamala comes out. You end up having a blast. Like I think she's probably really a funny person. I think she's making the same mistake that McCain made and the same mistake that Dole made, which is trying to hide her real personality. Because I see you sit back like she seems like the person to be the president of the book club, but the ladies all just get together and just drink wine and get drunk.
All right, how many chapters did you guys read? None? Well, let's just... Ooh, did you hear what happened? Y'all, I'm just a poor girl from California. I know what it's like to be...
Yeah, I know.
Oh, go
Both
through
of your
so
parents
much. Yeah.
were professors. I don't know how
they
before.
were professors. And they knew what it was like to face adversary. Yeah, because I was bust all over California.
So we'll get back to you in a moment there, Kamala. But by the way, that character in The Wizard of Oz, that's the little man that's actually the Wizard of Oz.
It's like that little boy and little man Tate.
That's little man Tate.
I don't know.
All right, I take it from that opening you want, before we get to the debate, you wanted to remind people that today is Friday the 13th.
And we have a full harvest moon tonight, so it's
Who
super
cares?
spooky.
Why is this a story? Okay.
Hey, if Doctrine Voice Lady's getting involved in it, you know it's big.
It's a day. This is why it's a story. The day on a date and the moon. What are we, cavemen? What's this a story?
Moon
Ladies
bigger
and
than
gentlemen,
normal.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me save you some time today. It all adds up to nothing. Nothing is zero. Do you know what zero is? Some people argue that it's not even a number. They call it a concept. It's the lack of anything. The fact that it's Friday the 13th, first of all, always means nothing. The fact that it's Friday the 13th and there's a full harvest moon means more than nothing. -2, I would say. Please, we're not cave people.
Excuse me.
Are you going to bring up that big burning flame in the sky?
Moon bigger than last month.
Well, that must mean
So no, you say no slaughter children and family.
yeah, whatever. If it's that, yeah.
No sacrifice to moon god.
No, don't sacrifice anyone to the moon god. It doesn't mean anything. It's a big dead rock. That's all. It's good for the tides.
Ulag wait till winter solstice.
Now, I know you guys aren't convinced.
Anybody who believes convinced, there's no convincing me. It's a dead rock, and it happens to be the phase where the sun is shining on the whole thing. It doesn't mean anything more than that.
Well, this year, the harvest moon also falls on one of the biggest holidays in many Asian countries, Eric. The Mid-Autumn Festival, which originated in China as a way to celebrate the moon and its deity.
Oh, yeah, the deity.
Yes, deity.
I don't care. What do you care?
It's a way to celebrate the fall harvest, Eric.
No, if you believe that the date and the day and the moon mean anything, you have the intelligence of a cave person. And I say cave person because it's 2019, and I don't want to be gender specific and say caveman. There were plenty of cave women.
Ulag not sure which way he swing.
Oh, come on tonight, Eric. When you're at home and you're relaxing and you're sitting out in your backyard with a beer in your hand,
No, I don't do that.
take a little toast to the moon. You
No,
know?
it's fine. It looks fine. I love the sky and everything. I just don't confuse it with thinking it has anything to do with my life. The moon, it has some control over the tides. That's scientific. Well, they tell me, oh, it's Friday the 13th and a harvest moon.
Also make Mrs. Ulag grumpy once a month.
Well, that's as it has always been, sir.
We just got here.
All right, now let's get to this debate that I didn't watch. I'm not going to watch until there's 4 or 5. But I'll tell you this, I heard enough things from the debate to tell you this. The most important thing is we've got to remove audiences from debates. It's at best, it's the Oprah Winfrey Show. Usually it's Jerry Springer. And people say things to get applause. In a primary, it doesn't do you any damn good once you get to the general election, because in a primary, the thing that you say that's going to get the applause is going to be the thing that you can't tack to the center for and get people in Michigan and Wisconsin. Do you have, let's just jump around. Do you have Beto O'Rourke?
I do.
Yeah, okay. This sounds great in front of a primary audience. Look, things do change, and I could be behind the times, but I don't think America has changed so much that now we like our politicians telling us that they're going to take anything away from us. Put the gun issue aside. I don't think it's a cool thing for most Americans that people say, hell yeah, we're going to take that from you.
So many other people were shot by that AR-15 in Odessa and Midland. There weren't enough ambulances to get to them in time. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47.
It's all emotion. It's all emotion. And you get audience. Why does there have to be an audience in a debate? Somebody tell me how an audience doesn't make a debate worse. You start playing to the audience. You're on television. The entire nation is watching. You're supposed to be playing to people who are eating chips, sitting on the couch, who forgot there was a football game on. That's who you're supposed to be playing to.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Oh, that wasn't a good football game? I missed that as well. I was down a YouTube thing last night till like 10 o'clock. I forgot everything was on.
Well, Beto wasn't done yet. I mean, he had all other things to say.
Sign into law a reparations bill that will allow us to address this at its foundation.
Yeah.
But we
Everybody
will also call out the fact that we have a white supremacist in the White House, and he poses a mortal threat to people of color all across this country.
Freebird! Yeah!
I knew he'd play it.
I mean, come on. Having the audience there just tempts them to do the Oprah Winfrey, Jerry Springer thing. Just get the audience, I take care of my kids. Woo! Nobody cares. It's not a big deal to anybody that you take care of your kids. But this audience is on fire over it. So what else we have?
Julian Castro probably had a good moment. He went after Joe Biden.
Was it a good moment? Is it possible for Julian Castro to have a good moment?
Well,
does anybody look at Julian Castro and think, Mr. President?
He does. This is what he did. He attacked
His mirror
Biden.
does.
He attacked Joe Biden.
For being old.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They do not have to buy in.
You just said that. You just said that 2 minutes ago. You just said 2 minutes ago that they would have to buy in. You said they would have to buy in.
Have to buy in. If she qualifies for
Are you forgetting what you said 2 minutes ago?
Be in for it.
Hey, this is my favorite Biden moment from the debate that I didn't watch. I don't know what the hell he's talking about here.
Play the radio. Make sure the television.
This is for kids somehow. This is a way to bring kids in the inner city. It's a way to help them at school. Is that what he's...
before and after school, getting into the home to make sure they realize how important it is.
If anybody understands what the hell he's talking about here, please step forward.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure the kids hear words.
Make sure kids hear words. I think we can all agree.
I don't care what kind of words they are, fella. Just get out there and start saying words.
It just doesn't matter, right?
Turn on the radio or the old TV and get people out there.
He almost says phonograph. You hear that? I can't stop it. It's after he says record player, and you hear him go phone.
Play the radio. Make sure the television. Make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure the kids hear words.
Make sure the phone is on.
Make sure the phone is on. Phonograph.
Phonograph. Wind up the phonograph.
Put on Jack Benny. Maybe it's him being out of touch, right? Record player in 2019. Or is it a play for the millennial hipster audience?
That's what I thought.
Really?
Oh, he's trending.
Wow, I didn't know he collected vinyl.
But he's not so uncool.
Record store day, bro.
So right before then, he'd already made that thing about poor kids. What was that thing he said a couple weeks ago?
Poor kids are as smart as white kids.
Yeah. Well, to me, there's a little bit of I think it's unintentional. I don't think Joe Biden's a racist. But to me, I think there's unintentional racism in this.
They have.
He's talking about the parents. So the government is going to help the parents with the children's grades, I guess.
They have every problem coming to them. We have to make sure that every single child does, in fact, have 3, 4, and 5-year-olds go to school, not daycare.
Hold on. Did you follow that?
No.
We're going to have every child make sure that 3, 4, and 5-year-olds go to school. It's up to the children now.
Yeah, well, they need to.
They have every problem coming to them. We have to make sure that every single child does, in fact, have 3, 4, and 5-year-olds go to school, not daycare, school. We bring social workers into homes of parents to help them deal with how to raise their children. It's not that they don't want to help. They don't know quite what to do.
Isn't that racist? Isn't that racist? Is it saying that parents, minority parents, it's not that they don't want. They just don't know what to do. They just don't. They don't know how to
come in their house and teach them how to raise their kids.
You've been watching too many of those movies where like a white guy goes in and helps a black family or something. Like what? It's like racist, isn't it?
I have a proposal that Hillary Swank will visit every poor family out there. Hillary Swank will come in. Michelle Pfeiffer.
Am I wrong? This is an elitist. If not racist, this is an elitist point of view. Inner city parents need the government to send experts in to teach them how to be parents.
They have every problem coming to them. We have make sure that every single child does, in fact, have 3, 4, and 5-year-olds go to school, not daycare, school. We bring social workers into homes of parents to help them deal with how to raise their children. It's not that they don't want to help. They don't know quite what to do.
They need the government to teach them how to be parents.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Yeah.
Right.
And when he yells there, he's kind of like yelling at himself because he's going to get wrong. He's like, no, Joe, school. Wow, this is going to be one hell of an election cycle.
Get your daily dose of comic relief with Eric Von Haessler mornings at 9. Then shake off the daily stress.
It's gonna be all right.
With Mark Aram weeknights at 6 on 95.5 WSB.
You know, I got a weird hankering for a grape soda.
Oh,
That's not like 50s? It's not like smelling oranges or anything. It's a sure sign of a stroke or a
Oh, no, Tim.
Don't do it. No,
He's chipping.
I've been very good on my diet, but I think that they say that sooner or later the white trash will always rise to the top.
Oh, it does, yes.
At some point. You can only suppress it for so long. Man, do I have a hankering for a grape soda. We were just talking about the debate, and I wanted to make sure that we were fair and balanced. So we have open mics, right?
Yes, both male and female.
Male and female. How about that? Clive Cliverson, my radio guru, / consultant. We got everybody. So we're going to have both sides here then, right? Fair and balanced. So let's go with the first open micer.
Fantastic debate tonight. Each of the candidates spoke their minds. They answered the questions in depth. And I'm on the edge of my seat waiting for the next debate. Fantastic job, candidates.
Well, very good. Now, you're going to be on the edge of the next debate's in a month. That's a long time to be at the edge of your seat. But so there's one side. Yeah. Okay, fair and balanced. Male. Let's go to the other side now.
I think they all suck.
Wow. They say this country is polarized. I didn't really believe it until that moment. This one guy's on the edge of his seat. And, wow.
I think they all suck.
Yes, okay, all
Got
right.
it, lady.
Yeah, we get it. Clive Cliverson, you're the one who talked me into this. She was not a fan. I don't know what, there was something was bleeped in there.
Well, I'll tell you later. We're going to break.
I'm not exactly sure what that was, but what I'm gleaning from it is that she was not a fan of the debate or any of the debaters last night.
Well, it's behind the curtain. You'll just have to. The Wizard of Oz.
Like, come on. Did you see that part? She was saying,
I did. Wow,
you know who that character is behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz?
You mean The Wizard of Oz?
That's the Wizard of Oz. Yeah, actually, it turns out. All right, are we going to do Studio B1 next?
Yes, we are.
So that means that Greg Russ is coming up.
He is.
Which means that he has not harmed himself in any way since the last time we talked to him. It's good news. All right, you want to stick around? Well, you're listening to the greatest radio show in the history of history. If that's not enough for you, top of the next hour, I will call the next name. If you hear your name, call back in 9 minutes, 55 seconds. You walk away with $500 in free gas. That's a little perk. You're already listening to the greatest radio show in the history of history. And then, are you familiar, Tim Andrews, with the word lagniappe? It's it's sort of some
Swedish
Creole.
thing.
It's a Creole.
Oh, Creole.
It means a little more, a little something on top, a little extra.
Lagniappe.
Lagniappe.
Dollop?
A little dollop more, a little dollop of free gas. All right, let's do this.
He's a misanthrope, he has a dark heart, and he needs a good psychiatrist.
New York.
It's Greg Russ with stories from Studio B1.
Technically, I think it's a little something extra. And that's exactly what Greg Russ is to this show. Lagniappe. A little something extra. Hello, Greg. Hello?
Nah.
Okay, you're there.
That's my new catchphrase.
Oh, I think it's going to catch on. It's going to be the new. What did Fonzie say?
A.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the new A. All right, it'll take a little while. It's just every, and you can't do it every time I say something to you, but you got to sprinkle it in a couple of times, an appearance. And after a while, all the kids will be saying it, and then it'll be your catchphrase.
How would we put it on a T-shirt? How would you spell it?
How would you spell that? Say it again. I don't know.
A-H-H.
Yeah, but
that's like ah.
That's like ah.
Oh.
See?
All right, you know what? We'll take this to the promotions department. I want to ask you a question, Greg, and I'm getting ahead of myself because we're going to have Jay Black on at 10. But you're a football fan. This is interesting to me. So I didn't see the game last night, but apparently Cam Newton was terrible again 2 weeks in a row. And yet, when he's terrible, he still shows up for the post-game interview with these weird fashions. Have you seen him lately, Greg?
I have not seen him lately, but I know the fashions you're talking about.
Well, last week was something else, and it was the first time he threw in a kerchief. And there was another kerchief. Is it a kerchief or a headkerchief? What is it?
It's a headscarf.
It's a headscarf. He's wearing a headscarf like the Queen of England these days. And it's kind of, I mean, on one hand, I say, hey, man, go for it. But I think you need to do that kind of stuff after a victory. I don't know how the other dudes on the team, like, because it's kind of like being flippant, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, as far as like, oh, we lost, but I'm still going to put on the
I gotta
headscarf.
look myself in the mirror.
And
That's
he
what
said
he said
that.
last night. I gotta look myself in the mirror.
Now, last week, anyway, when we're done here, Greg, you need to go to the images Google and pick up the last couple of weeks with Cam Newton because the man's losing his mind. All right, what do you got from Studio B1?
I can relate to that. So, if he's looking at himself in the mirror, though, at this point, do you think he's berating himself, or do you still think he looks at himself and says, "You're the man"?
Well, what he ought to say is, "You're the man with a what do you call it? A headscarf." You're the man with. Last week,
babushka.
Yeah, last week he looked like almost like he had a bonnet on top of it.
Yes.
For a moment when he was going into the game, I was watching on ESPN. I thought he had like one of those veils over his face that like a widow wears at a wedding. You know, like in the old days. See now,
his arm died.
Before there was plastic surgery, women who didn't want to be seen as aging, they would put one of those veils over their face, and it really kind of like it had a little. You know what I'm talking about, Autumn? And you really wouldn't notice the wrinkles. That's why they put those veils over their face.
That like mesh.
That little mesh.
From their hat.
Yeah, a little mesh thing would go down, and that's what they used to do before they had
like a cage. I think it's called like a.
Yeah, it's this, and this is like for a moment I thought that Cam Newton actually had one of those last week, but he didn't. But he had a headscarf, and then he had a bonnet. It looked like it was a hat, but it
I
looked
thought
like
he
a
had
bonnet.
an old-timey toothache.
Yes, that's what it looked like. Like what's his face from A Christmas Carol?
Yes.
Who's dead as a doornail.
I hope he layers hats. That would be cool if he came out with a beanie and then a baseball cap on top of that, and then a Panama hat on top of that, and then a trilby on top of that, and a boater, and then a top hat.
That's almost going too far for cool. He's going for the old lady look now, which is bizarre. Yes, Jared.
I can see why he was so upset. I mean, he threw 50 times last night and completed 24 of those passes.
Yeah, he's been terrible the first 2
times.
weeks. I think he's done. I think he needs
to join Andrew Luck.
Whatever happened with that rotator cuff or whatever it was, I don't think it's fixed. And he's now going into fashion, yes?
I have to tell you that Autumn has influenced me. I have not watched 1 second of football this season.
Look, I worry about you, Greg, because what I do know that you're doing is you're staring at your wall at 2:00 in the morning. Might I suggest?
I've been sleeping. I got 5 hours last night.
All right, okay, you got 5 hours. All right, that's good. That's good. Did you? All right, now give me some stories from Studio B1 for heaven's sakes. That's what people tuned in for.
There's a supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy. We all know this, Eric, but
yes.
It's getting hungrier.
Yeah?
And astronomers don't know it's getting hungrier.
Somebody feed it.
It's sucking in more matter, and the astronomers, they don't know why.
Oh,
so they've noticed this because they're measuring the radiation produced by the black hole, and that is growing.
Let me tell you, if this keeps up for another 10, 12 billion years, we're going to be in danger. So we need to do something about, we're not going to last any more than 5 billion. Then the sun explodes.
Nuke the black hole.
Yeah.
Nuke it.
Then the
It's
sun...
not going to suck us in ever.
No, I know that. That was the joke. That was 10 to 12 billion, whatever.
Why
That's
is
the
this
joke.
a thing?
Just
Go to
stop.
commercial.
It's a thing because scientists want to know why things are happening. That's all. It doesn't have to be an existential threat.
I'm not saying that. You said we'll be in trouble in 12 billion years.
Yeah, that was a
We won't even
joke. That was a joke. Thank you.
She's been reading
like I
her
said,
husband's books
next-
again.
He's over her shoulder whispering in her ear.
It's a joke. It's a joke because the sun's going to explode in 5 billion years. We won't even be here.
No, it's
Well,
not
even
going to
if it
explode. It's not. Our sun's not big enough to explode, Eric. It's going to
It's
expand
gonna,
in size.
you know what
and then
I
it's gonna
mean. When it expands
collapse.
in size,
Yeah,
it's gonna
Eric, you were
burn us up.
wrong.
Do you
It's
have another story?
Friday.
I think that we should go to another story
Well,
from
I
Studio
wanna- I
B1.
wanna tell you, so-
Everybody still recognizes that I'm the host of this show, right? So,
Jared and I did.
decide what direction we go in. Okay.
I used a black hole, or the reference to a black hole once to try to pick up someone on one of the dating apps because she, there's time dilation that goes along with a black hole. You
Yeah.
get close and
Yeah, of course I do.
is out. I know you do. I
Yeah.
just, there's some people maybe in that room
I
or
don't.
on this show who don't know
I
that.
definitely don't know what that.
Well, later on,
So-
on,
so
on,
this,
on a podcast where we don't have to worry about people actually listening, he'll explain that to
Okay.
you. Yes, you were saying.
So there was someone I reached out to because she said she had spent too much time on the Finnish Design Shop.
Yeah.
Which is just a website that's like the fancy IKEA, I think. Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah, that Finnish Design Shop is certainly a time warp. I spent an hour and a half there looking at lamps recently. Maybe it shares properties with a black hole, leading time to essentially stand still. So watch yourself. I'm worried that what has seemed like 2 seconds to you has actually been a week out here. Never got a response.
Yeah, you didn't get a response on that one. What was that on Tinder? Was that on Tinder? You were tossing that around? I'm really surprised you didn't get a response from that. It's like you know what?
Come on, that's what do people want? They want thoughtful. You got to reach out to them.
No,
and
but you
write
have to make
something,
sense. You
and
have to make
can't say
sense.
hello. That makes perfect sense.
Hey, did you hear?
because
Hold on. Did you hear what Joe Biden said on Tinder?
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure the kids hear words.
I know what he's saying.
I think the world's response to that was like her response to you. Now, go to the next story.
No, I made sense. He's losing his mind. That dude is short-circuiting. He shows that we're really just flesh robots, and his circuits are fried. Yup.
I'm not so sure you're not losing yours as well. Next story.
Possibly. Pornhub is getting into fine art.
Oh, good. It's about time. Hey, who says it's not fine art already? It all depends on how you look at it.
That's right.
Well, it's subjective. You're right.
That's right. I think of it as a lot of great small independent films on Pornhub.
So they're teaming up with the Macaron.
Who are they teaming up
Macaroni art.
Yeah, they're teaming up with the Macaron Gallery in Los Angeles.
Oh, that's good.
And
They're a good one.
The exhibition is going to be called The Pleasure Principle.
Okay, so that means so the art is not going to Pornhub. Pornhub is going to the art facility somehow.
Pornhub is just
I think
sponsoring
Pornhub
and investing in it.
I think Pornhub knows their audience. You're not really. You can be interested in art and pornography, but what never happens is that you're interested in both at the same time.
Pornographic art.
Pornographic art. All art is pornographic as far as I'm concerned, but I'm old school. You look at all that art from the old days, Rome and Greece and everything, and it's pornography of the time, and people don't understand. And now we treat it, and I wonder if, like, in 2,000 years, if they'll look at Pornhub and think that it was art, because we look at these ceramics that have all these naked people doing stuff on it, and it's fine art. Not at the time. They didn't have magazines. They had pieces of pottery, clay tablets. That's what they were. We look at this stuff now as if it's fine art. It wasn't. It was pornography, for heaven's sake.
I used to keep a clay tablet under my mattress, but it always poked me in the back.
That's why you grew up in the Flintstones?
Yeah.
Flintstone pornography. So, all right. Well, okay. What's the next story?
That's it. You don't have any more thoughts on that?
Well, I thought I expounded quite well on it, yes.
Okay, we can move on to the next one. If you're fine with that, the next generation of aircraft is going to track your bathroom visits. It's all part of an effort to make commercial cabins a digitally aware domain.
I don't understand what that means. Why would they traffic? Why would they want to know how many times you go in the bathroom? Although I can tell you that sometimes, not that I've been there, but I've heard on Pornhub, some things happen in those bathrooms sometimes, and nobody knows.
Very artistic.
No, you know it because they shoot videos of it.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody on the plane knows that. Yeah, people have, and then you see this stuff, and then the next time you're on a plane, you're always wondering. Everybody who walks in there, he's been.
This is all about the Internet of Things, Eric.
Yes. Oh, what is that? The Internet of Things is like when your refrigerator can get you onto the web or something.
Yes, everything is connected to the Internet, and this is just an attempt to give flight attendants a more detailed survey of the cabin.
Well, why do they need to know how many times you go to the bathroom?
Well, the sensors will tell them when soap is running low and how much toilet paper remains.
You know how many times I go to the bathroom on a plane?
Zero.
Zero.
Okay,
I empty my bladder before I get on, and guess what? I can control
What's
myself.
the longest flight you've been on?
Okay, I've never
you
gone.
don't leave the country.
Exactly.
All right, I've never flown to Australia, but I've flown to Los Angeles. That's 4 hours.
If you flew to Australia, though, you know very well that you would have to use the restroom.
Of course.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. What is it, 10 hours?
No,
It's
way
like
more.
18.
Try 18. Yeah.
I've done it. I went
miserable.
when I was.
You were 8 years old.
No,
at that
I wasn't.
Camp.
I was 10 or 11 years
the
old.
camp with the
I was-
wasp in the toilet.
I was
right?
11 years old. I was in Boy Scouts. We went to Camp Kayakima. I got freaked out because there was no privacy. It was like what you see like in the military. Like I just,
Oh, yeah.
I was supposed to sit there with my buddies.
No stalls.
No stalls. And then I waited for everybody to leave and go somewhere, and I was going to have the place to myself. And I walked in, and a bunch of wasp flew out of one of them, and that was it. So I did not go to the bathroom for a week at Camp Kayakima,
Oh, God.
and I believe I could. So
And then
if
you
I could,
died of sepsis.
if I could do it for a week. Let me tell you, there was a Dairy Queen between Arkansas and Memphis on the way home, and they probably closed that place down.
Yeah, they had to burn it.
That's like after the hot dog eating competition on the 4th of July. Those I cannot imagine. I was reading. A lot of them say they don't purge. They keep it in their systems.
I get sick watching that contest because I know it's 100 degrees in Coney Island, and it makes me sick to my stomach. All right, we'll be back with yet another story from Studio B1. Jared, I appreciate you as a producer, but you have to explain, why do you point to the ceiling when we're coming back?
Because I feel like that voice comes at us from that angle, from the ceiling.
So when you're pointing to the ceiling,
that means we're coming back.
Okay, now that I know, I just thought you were pointing to I thought you just made a touchdown. All right.
He's like, that one's for you.
Yeah, Greg.
Big guy.
Greg, what do you got for me here?
I've got something from the Who Cares desk.
Oh, good. I love that. I love the Who Cares desk.
Kendall Jenner misses walking in New York Fashion Week.
Kendall Jenner. Which one is she? Is she the she's the
Autumn? Which one is she?
Which one is she?
She's one of the younger ones.
She's very pretty.
She's the one that doesn't have all the crazy surgeries on her face.
She's 23.
Okay, is she the one that was in the Pepsi ad a couple years ago?
I believe
and everybody
so.
got mad at her.
Who cares? Yes, I
That's
think
right.
that was her. I was watching the girls walk, and I have to tell you, I'm really missing being up there on the. I don't care.
Boy, those Kardashians, they have a hard life. Why? You should care. I mean, look at her.
I wanted to walk in Fashion Week.
Yeah, this poor Kendall Jenner. She's a billionaire at 23, and
I was stuck at home spending my money on frivolous things.
And did you forget about Fashion Week, or did you just decide? What happened?
Kendall, let me tell you what happened. You were there, Kendall. Don't you remember?
Yeah.
You were there. You were watching, and that's what instilled this feeling.
Well, she was shopping on her phone.
I wasn't really there. I was spiritually somewhere else.
Oh, you're a very spiritual person, Kendall
Very
Jenner?
spiritual. I'm going to India next week.
Is that a threat?
Watch out, India. Here I come, taking over.
All right, Greg. I guess you're not going to be with us on the podcast, huh?
Not today, but I'll be there again soon.
All right, I guess you just don't care. Nice talking to you.
All right, love you.
But I love you too, Greg.
Bye.
Hour 2 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. And let me just say this. The party can begin because Jay Black is in the house.
One man to beat. He cuts behind him. 20. He's going to go. 5. Touchdown.
Georgia Bulldogs and sports with Jay Black.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Autumn. Jay Black. Very soon we're going to start the Win a Date with Jay Black.
Oh, yeah?
It's going to happen this year. I'm telling you this year. When's your birthday? It already passed.
April
didn't it?
9th.
I'm not going to wait. Oh, April 9th. That's not too far away. I know I'm getting you this year.
Can anyone win
I
this
know.
contest?
Yes, anybody can win.
All right, I'm going to enter.
That's yeah. Anybody who wants to date Jay Black, listen, it's 2019. Sorry, we got to open it up, right? You're not a closed-minded individual.
You said April 9th, right? That's right around the Final Four.
Yes.
April 9th.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait probably till the end of April, maybe.
Yeah.
Not around spring training or when baseball starts. So try to get it in February after the Super Bowl and before March Madness.
I
I got the Masters during my birthday, so I have to wait.
There's that as well. You know what? I'm gonna call this year's birthday for Jay Black the Finally Four. Okay, so all on me. All right, so who we play this week? It's the UGA is not playing Notre Dame this week.
That's next week.
Yeah.
This week Georgia plays the Arkansas State Red Wolves, not to be confused with the Red Foxes, which is totally different.
Red Wolves. Is Kirby pretending that they're really scared of the Red Wolves from Arkansas State?
It's not totally pretending. I mean, it's partially pretending, but not totally pretending.
We won't have anybody working on Notre Dame this week. That's not our focus. I got too much respect for this team and too much respect for how they play. We're not working on Notre Dame this week.
Oh, you're not worried, are you, Mr. Kirby? Doesn't sound very smart to me. You better be watching yourself, Mr. Kirby Smart. Don't be acting the maggot, Kirby. The dogs will be knackered. We'll be going for a gargle while you're loosing on the field.
This guy got here a week early.
Oh, I'm early. That's right, I'm sleeping in the woods.
Kirby Smart, not the tallest guy in the world. Does that work in your favor?
Oh, it's a little wee man, is he? I'm not afraid of a little wee man. I don't care how thick his chest is.
All right, let's concentrate on the Red Wolves. Does Kirby? They got a kid who does a thing or something that's got him worried.
Kirby wasn't done.
The tape speaks for itself this week. These guys are a really good football team. And y'all all sit there saying, "Yeah, right, whatever." This team has a really good football team. They've got quickness, they got explosiveness, they score a lot of points. I got a lot of respect for their quarterback. They've got the best wideouts and skill guys we've probably faced when it comes to a combination of 3 or 4 really good receivers. They're very disruptive on their defense, and they've got good athletes. We don't ever lie to our players. We just say, here it is for you to see. You be the judge.
He's not lying. These are the best receivers. They're better than the receivers at Murray State.
That's correct.
Are the best receivers.
And maybe Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
These are the best receivers Arkansas State has to offer. And a lot of their defense is disruptive. And I'm not a lot of the team. I mean, the tape speaks for itself. You just turn it on and look how good those young guys, we're going to kick their butt.
Yeah. What do you really think, Kirby?
They're down. They're done. I think that we're just going to play second teamers until the Irish get here.
Oh, you better be on your toes. You know what I have to say to you, Mr. Kirby Smart? Go have a bag of tato.
So, what time? Tell me anything else more you want me to. I know that you guys got obviously a great show for the Murray State Red Rovers or
Arkansas State Red Wolves.
I'm sorry.
I'm
not to be confused with the West Georgia Wolves.
I'm getting the cupcakes all mixed up here.
This is not a cupcake.
It's a bigger cupcake. It's a bigger cupcake. Yeah, it's a half
we call it a bundt cake.
It's a bundt cake. All right. Now next week you got to deal with a cake, huh?
That's a cake.
You'll be dealing with a soda cake.
When do you think the Notre Dame folk will start arriving? Thursday or so?
I would say Thursday or Friday.
They're going to have a blast in Athens, don't you think?
I would hope so, because Georgia people had a blast in South Bend, Indiana. So hopefully we reciprocate. We're bringing in portable stands for that game. We're bringing in an extra 500 seats to fit the Notre Dame folks in. Yeah.
No, I think it's going to be fun. I think Georgia's a much better team, and I don't think it's going to be. I think Notre Dame was better when we played them last time.
No.
In their. So I think that it's going to be I think UGA is going to win by a couple touchdowns in that game. But I think that people do remember, Georgia fans do remember how well they were treated by those fans up there, and I think they're going to come down here to Athens. And I almost want to go down there that weekend if I could be helicoptered in. I don't want to deal with the traffic.
Yes.
But I think it would be fun to be down there in Athens next weekend.
Yeah, it'll be one of the biggest home games ever played at the University of Georgia. But first things first, the Red Wolves. 8 a.m. is our tailgate show tomorrow, so breakfast for the Bulldogs, and then we'll kick it off at noon.
And it's a noon kickoff. Yes. I heard Kirby saying they gotta really be focused because it's going to kick off at noon.
A little early, a little hot. Fans might not totally be wound up for it because it's have their heads focused elsewhere. But I'll give Kirby Smart credit. He didn't complain. There's been, especially Alabama, people complaining about playing too many games in the heat. Kirby didn't take the bait. He said, we use that as an advantage.
Sure.
Play whenever it's time to play.
And in Notre Dame, they're not used to this kind of heat, so I don't think they're going to do very well when they get here.
Oh, you don't, do ya? Well, let me tell you this. We've had some hot days in Ireland in the past. We know how to play. Oh, you silly little American football game.
Don't be throwing potatoes on the field, by the way. That's not allowed here.
Because I'm Irish.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
And
it is it?
Yeah, you're drinking as
How
well.
about this?
Sure,
I'm
I'll be
allergic to
stereotyping.
starch. So I'll have cabbage. Don't you worry, Mister Georgia Bulldog.
Did you have other sports stories you wanted to talk to
so
Jay Black about?
Falcons opener is on Sunday.
Jared Yamamoto tells me he's calling that the Falcons will rebound from, which I don't even think it's a rebound. I think just realize that the season has started.
Yes.
The Falcons will realize the season has started this weekend, and he's saying they're going to win by 3. What say you?
I don't have a good feeling. That was a horrible.
It's hard to believe that that's the real team,
Man.
though, huh?
I mean that's true. That's true, but it is, as Dan Quinn said in his press conference, which you don't hear from a head coach very much, that performance was alarming.
Yeah.
And it was, because they could not stop the run, and Minnesota stomped the Falcons by throwing 10 passes in an NFL game.
Problem is, it was both sides that looked bad. Now, the way that people may not know this, but preseason isn't what it used to be, and you can't really hit that much in camp anymore. So, in the last few years, we've noticed the offense is kind of the first game of the year. A lot of offenses don't look all that great, but the problem for the Falcons was both sides of the ball looked pretty terrible.
The NFL's almost like college now, where when the season starts, you really have no idea
you don't
what
know.
you're going to get.
Yeah, you don't know.
And for the Falcons, you didn't see any real change from the start of this year to the end of last year. But,
Go ahead.
you know, it's the NFL, you really never know. A rebound, or in this case, a bound, is perfectly possible.
What if the Falcons played Notre Dame this weekend? What do you think would
the Dirty Birds?
You know what would happen. You know damn well what would happen. We're not afraid. Well, a weak little college team up in Athens or a big NFL team downtown Atlanta. We'll take them all.
It's going to be a fun week. Once we get past this Arkansas State, I know they got a kid who does a thing.
Yeah.
We got to worry about a kid who does a thing.
Hey,
but other
Kirby
than
said he
that-
wasn't lying.
Good athletes. We don't ever lie to our players. We just
I'm not
say,
saying-
here it is for you to see. You be the judge.
No one called him a liar. No reason to be
I'd say to
defensive.
Matt Ryan, be careful, because Eagles got a defense. They got a couple guys on there that can get right through that weak offensive line that y'all got.
Let me ask you a question. Since we have this sports thing,
Yes.
and I'm already going to get yelled at for doing an entire segment on sports.
Let him yell.
Yeah, let him yell. I'm already in. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a man.
Right.
And I enjoy sports, and I'm not going to apologize for
I'm
it.
Lady J. Black. I like sports.
I'm not saying only men.
All right, I just want to clarify.
This is my question. How come nobody? I watch all these sports shows.
Yes.
I'm a very boring person. Just ask my wife. I come home and I watch all these shows. Guys are sitting around a table. They're talking about sports. All they do is talk about the same thing, and I'm guilty for watching. It's like, again, today I'll go home and I'll watch a bunch of guys around a table talk about whether Dak should get paid, which is
Right.
all they talk about. Can I tell you something I've noticed? No one talks about the Braves. Worse than that, no one really talks about baseball. If it's not a show about baseball, I think this Braves team, I don't know if they're going to go all the way. Maybe the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Astros, they are what they say they are. But I wouldn't. In other years, it seems to me that people be saying, "Hey, you might not want to run into this Braves team in the playoffs." But I hear nothing. I really, what is wrong with baseball? Do people just not care anymore?
Well, that's because it's football season, and ESPN can't see the forest for the trees during football season.
Well, that's true.
But Ronald Acuna, 21 years old, youngest person in baseball history with 35 homers and 35 stolen bases in a season.
He got his 39th last night.
Yes,
he's probably going to do 40.
He's probably going to go 40-40.
You'd think that these stories would percolate up and people say, hey, I don't know if this is the year, but this is an exciting team. This is why baseball is so boring. All they do is talk about L.A. and New York. Great. They're wonderful. Maybe they'll go all the way. But there are other stories along the way.
I mean, Acuna's can't miss television. And it's a shame that hasn't quite perked up to the top yet. But
that Freddie Freeman ain't so bad either.
No, the Braves.
What Donaldson's doing, the bringer of rain, the people, the celebrations. This should be all over television.
It's a fun team. It's one of the funnest teams in baseball, and they're not getting a lot of attention.
A lot of sports shows. If you don't have a lock on the Super Bowl or the World Series, same thing's true in college. Georgia gets talked about because lately they always open up in the top 5.
Yes,
but anything outside of that, they don't talk. It ends up being boring.
And in a related story, ESPN's kind of struggling to get people to watch other stuff than games.
Well, if they would stop telling us how wonderful Title IX is.
But
and
as far as
trying to convince us that the female Final Four is every bit as interesting as the male Final Four, if they get out of La La Land and start talking to the real audience, real men like Jay Black and Eric Von Haessler.
And Lady J. Black.
And Lady
That's
J.
right.
taking your sweet time there. Come on in, Eric. Here he comes. Mr. Social Butterfly.
I was talking to my friend, Sarah.
Mr. Social Butterfly.
Always out there having a nip.
I was talking about political correctness in America. Nobody else talks about that, huh? Only me. I'm the only one out there bringing that up.
You're like, thanks for coming around, sugar. And then you give her a little slap on the hiney.
What are we doing? Now, there was the debate slap.
Yeah.
Except I said toots. You said sugar.
Toots.
Same thing.
Okay, yeah.
I do have some breaking news.
Yeah.
So some sad breaking news. It appears that Eddie Money's family is reporting that he has passed away. He's 70 years old.
Oh, you know what? I met Eddie Money more than once, and that dude was a really nice guy. He was a really cool guy. And literally, this is the way the world works. Like 2 weeks ago, we stumbled upon Tim Andrews doing Eddie Money, and we came up with this whole thing where we were going to do what was Money Minutes, financial reports from Eddie Money.
Minutes, man.
Yeah, and as soon as we got the idea and started going in that direction, the news came out that he had esophageal. I always get the word wrong.
Esophageal.
Esophageal.
Yeah, he announced it, and he was like, "We're going to work on it."
And we were like, "Okay, well, no money. We got rid of that. We replaced it with Joe Walsh." Decided that Joe Walsh should be the guy, but
just an ordinary average guy.
Joe Walsh. So yeah, all I can say is it's too bad. It's sad. Well, he was 70. I mean, it's not.
It is amazing to see how quickly that progressed, though, after the diagnosis.
Well,
He must have been there for a while.
Well, or he knew it for a while and announced it when it was pretty obvious that they weren't going to be able to fight it. But that's too bad. He was a good guy. Met him a couple times.
Good guy.
I've
a lot
told
of good
that story.
songs. Yeah,
told that story in Los Angeles, but I don't. There's kind of a punchline to it. I don't want to do a punchline.
He used to work in this building too. I think he was over on our sister station.
Yeah,
for a little
the
while.
River. Yeah, I think he would come in from time to time, but he did the morning show over there for a while. So there are people here who know him. And I didn't know him, but I met him a couple of times, and it's just it makes me feel old. People start dying that were part of your thing.
Your childhood.
I had a very I usually don't bring up things that are somewhat slightly even a little bit adult, but I think on the podcast a few weeks ago I brought up the fact that Eddie Money, Give Me Some Water, was playing in the background of a very pivotal moment in my teenage years. So Eddie, I loved you, and we'll miss you. He was a good guy. Met him a couple of times. R.I.P. Feels like I have to burp, but I'm just going to be a pro. Nothing you can do. And not burp and just keep on talking. If it happens, it happens, but I got to be a pro about this. Hey, guess what? Congratulations. Mike Reimer of Ackworth.
Yeah.
Called back, got himself $500 in free gas. So make sure you listen later in the 4 o'clock hour to the other white Eric Erickson. He'll call out your name. If you hear your name, call back within 9 minutes, 55 seconds. Get yourself $500 in free gas. But you're not going to hear your name if you don't register at WSBRadio.com or on the WSB Radio app. Give us your name. We can call it out. You can call back. You get yourself $500 in free gas. Not so bad. Let's do this.
It's time to go down by law with George Stein.
Well, hello, George Stein.
Pleased to be here.
I think when George comes in, I think he's the wealthiest person that ever walks into this studio.
Oh, come on.
I mean, except for people, like sometimes Neil Bortz walks in, like lands his plane next to the station and walks in. So I don't know. You guys might be neck and neck. I don't know. But out of this lot here, George Stein has sometimes. What's the most you've ever paid for a pen? He's into pens. He likes to spend money on pens. What's the most? What's the most? Be truthful with me, George.
I think I paid $12.50 for one once.
1,000, not $12.50.
No.
Which, by the way, if you told me,
a lot.
Yeah,
still.
if you told me you paid $12.50 for a pen, I would think that was outrageous.
Yes.
But did you? You didn't. I lose pens.
I know. I think I left that one in a gas station.
I lose pens. I lose sunglasses. So I learned a long time ago: stop spending money on sunglasses because you're just going to lose them. So spend $25, $30 on them. And then when you lose them, you don't feel horrible.
Well, I've gotten more reasonable. This one's only $700. So,
do you feel the difference when you write with the pen? It's like, well, yeah, that's why I spent the money. Yeah, that's a nice glide. Come to daddy.
Do you want to trade, George? Look,
yeah,
it's got a little smiley face on
it.
When the ink runs out, is there a special thing that you have to put into it?
It's called a cartridge.
It's called a cartridge.
It's called a cartridge.
Is there a special thing that you have to put into it?
It's called a cartridge.
What?
Yes.
I know, but is it special? Is it different? Is it more? Is it very expensive? You know how like razors are cheap, but then the blades are expensive.
Yeah, is it like $500 a cartridge?
They provide a valet that comes and changes.
Oh, a little white glove service.
Yes.
Right, Rush? White gloves.
Well, a little white glove service on your pen.
All right.
Ridiculous.
We're not here to talk about pens and such. We're here to talk about the underpinnings of law.
That's on Tuesdays. Pen
That's
Talk
it. We do
Tuesday.
pen talk on Tuesday. So what do you got for me? What kind of law stories, Jared Yamamoto?
Well,
or stories that have an underpinning of law.
Georgia's new voting machines, the ones where you now get a printout receipt and then you have to submit it back in and turn it into the poll worker.
Yeah, these are the new ones that by law they had to get new ones.
Yes.
I don't know what the hell was the matter with the old ones. I don't know what was the matter with just, punching a thing, like a little ballot. Paper.
Well, they said it was hackable and it wasn't reliable, and Stacey Abrams and
she claims that those machines were against her.
Right, and so her coalition thinks that if you don't get a hard copy of how you voted with your name on it, then it's subject to cheating.
Which is just exactly what you want. You remember that you want to walk out of the voting booth with all the names of the people you just voted for. That doesn't upend the whole concept of a private vote where no one around you knows what you voted. Or does it work that way, or is it you see it?
You get a receipt and then you submit that to the poll worker afterward.
Oh, good. So they can keep an eye on who you're voting for.
So the court said they have to get new ones now.
Yeah, and now the new ones are being taken to court.
Yeah, they are, but I think they're going to be victorious in saying the new ones are okay. Listen, we don't want to go back to the old days where you have a guy counting individual sheets of paper and you don't find out to the next day who won.
I don't have a problem with it. You know what? This microwave society we live in, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem going to the polls, voting, going home, watching my favorite sitcoms, seeing the evening news, falling asleep, waking up the next morning, and then finding out who won.
What happened to taking your time?
Yeah, take time, get it right. I don't see what the rush is about all this. And everybody's like, what about the hanging chads? You know what I say? It's up to each candidate to make sure that their voters know that they have to push it all the way through. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult to push it all the way down so that it's obvious who you voted for.
I've got arthritis in that voting hand.
On your voting hand.
I've got arthritis in that one.
Yeah, your other hand, your smoking hand is fine.
My smoking hand's busy.
But your voting hand, you got the arthritis.
That's right.
See how that goes. You know what? This is what I'm maybe contrarian here. When I see the name of this group that is bringing the lawsuit against the new machines, that makes me go, uh-oh. The Coalition for Good Governance. Look out! Hide your wallet. Nail everything to the floor. The Coalition for Good Governance. Well, what a bunch. Hey, you can't disagree with us. You're disagreeing with the concept of good governance.
Well, their argument is when you press the button and it automatically enters your vote, that it creates a barcode, and the barcode can be miscoded.
This is digital now. That's my point. Bring back the paper ballot, and there's no reason that this can't be done in an analog way. I'm all for technology. I'm not an anti-tech person, but what's going to happen with technology is you always have to be up to date. There's always an update. There's always an upgrade. Every single polling station in the nation is not always going to be on the cutting edge of whatever the new technology is. But if you can just teach your voters that they need to press down to make a complete whole that says, I'm voting for that person, it seems to me that you never have to update that. We went in this direction because we found out that people were too stupid to push all the way through. I think that's on them. I think that's on the voter. You really can't. And now the only way to get away from that is to go digital. And if you go digital, guess what? There's going to be a ghost in the machine. There's going to be part of this that you don't see, right? It's inside of a computer.
Yeah, it's called software.
The Coalition for Good Governance. I hate names like that. It's like, well, if you disagree with us, obviously you're in favor of bad governance. All right, next story.
A court in France has ruled that a man who died from a heart attack after having sex during a business trip had suffered a work-related accident and that his employer is liable.
Oh, well, it's about time the working man got represented. And the French, they understand that, business is business. And it's important. It should be, it should be covered.
There are laws there for employees are really way, inclusive. They include everything.
Yeah. Except work.
Yeah, it's kind of socialistic. And the way it works there is if you step away from your official work duties, then there's an argument that you may not be covered.
And this was an adulterous affair.
Right.
I don't know if they have I don't even know if that's in the French language, adulterous. They all do it, right?
But no, it is fan knew about it.
Yeah.
I knew about it. It is no surprise to me that he was with her when he died.
My understanding is that and they have a different way in this part of Europe, in France and some other countries, where, you know how, Tim, you follow, those old 50s comedians, they always making jokes about their wives.
Yes.
And, there's no fun in the relationship anymore and everything. Well,
take my wife, please.
Yeah, it's like we're not kids anymore. We're not having fun, and the husbands want to keep on going, and the wives want to stop with the sex acts.
Mm-hmm.
And in these areas like France and stuff, there's the wives welcome the mistress, is what I understand. It's like, oh, look, I don't want to be doing this anymore with him.
No.
Sure, go ahead.
Have you seen him and his pot belly? It is too big.
Yes,
listen, Americans are too focused on the happiness.
Sure. Yeah, so I don't even know if there's such a thing as actual adultery in France.
Well,
I think it's just the culture.
In this case, one side's arguing that this little adulterous affair was outside the purview of his work activity, so it shouldn't be covered. And the other side,
so if he had been having sex with his wife on his desk,
right? Yes,
then that would be covered.
But the other side,
but if he leaves and goes to his mistress' apartment, that's not work related.
Well, the other side is arguing, indeed, that sex is a part of everyday life, like having a shower or a meal, and therefore the employee should be covered from his work-related protections.
See, that's what I'm saying. But it's France. We wouldn't agree with that. But what I'm saying is making sense. In France, adultery is normal. It's expected almost. It's considered a relief by the wife.
It is a gift. It was a gift to me. I do not want to see him anymore.
And the wife, who is now in her late 40s, early 50s, remembers that when she was in her early 20s, she was somebody's mistress. It all goes round and round,
That's right?
That is how I first made my money.
They're going to call Maurice Chevalier as an expert witness.
Oh, then he'll start singing.
Oh, yes.
How many people remember? Was he the guy? I can't believe this guy. You talk about the Me Too thing. That guy's dead, right? Maurice Chevalier. Thank heaven for little girls.
For little girls.
That was a huge song. It was like a worldwide hit, and it's really creepy if you go back and listen to it now. Without them, what would little boys do, or something like that? Zank, a grown man. Can you imagine now?
Why is this a problem? Why is this a problem?
Because it's a different era, and we don't have old creepy men singing songs about little girls.
He was just thinking about the little girls and what they do and what they grow up to be.
The French.
I have a question.
No problem.
What if the gentleman is on his work-related computer on the VPN, logged into all of his work accounts, but he's over at his mistress's apartment? Is he then in trouble then? Is the company then liable?
What if he was on the moon?
Yeah.
But he talked about business with his astronaut.
I think you'd be better to ask the question, what if he did it on his mobile and he took it with him?
Yeah.
And
that
maybe,
too.
So let's say okay,
business phone.
Well, you know what? Before I go over in the bedroom, I'm going to start downloading this file that I'm going to have to take care of at work. And then there's work-related stuff going on while the France-related stuff is going on in the bedroom.
That would be the double B phone.
There you go.
The double B?
Yeah,
I don't want to know.
Business and booty phone.
Do not understand this. Eric, who is this child on the show?
Well, he's very immature. He's not like you. He's not like you. So my understanding, I think they're going to lose because of the fact that he left his work-related situation.
Well, it's subject to review from a higher court. We'll have to sit down and wait and see that decision.
You ever have it? You never did anything. You're not licensed in France, right? You're not.
No, but my first wife was French, so.
You understand all this.
Warning! Do not chug milk before listening, because you will laugh out loud.
Now, Jared's pointing to heaven, so we must be back on the air.
Hey, you almost missed the segment earlier.
Another legal story?
Antonio Brown could face legal...
Let me just say this. We're not going to talk about the latest charges against Antonio Brown, other than to say he's a jerk, but even a jerk is innocent until proven guilty. This is from when he left the Raiders, right? He recorded a conversation with his coach, John Gruden. John Gruden didn't know it was being recorded, and then Brown published it,
on YouTube.
Posted it on YouTube. So my question, George Stein, in California, from what you know of California law, is that illegal?
In California, indeed, it is illegal. Apparently, the person being recorded has to consent.
So it's two-party consent.
Well, no, it's actually
Is it one party?
No, for instance, the law in Georgia, you need consent, and it can be the recorder.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
so
here.
That's only one party consent.
Right.
So both sides have to consent to it.
Basically, because California, the person being recorded has to consent.
But if Gruden doesn't file a report, then nothing happens, and he's not going to file a report.
Yeah.
George Stein, tell people how they can get a hold of your wonderful services.
Yes, thanks, Eric. In your time of need, if you want a quality lawyer standing next to you, got a DUI, go to georgestein.com. Had a motorcycle accident, go to steelhorselaw.com.
Hour 3 of the Von Haessler Doctrine begins right now. I love that I have the monitor that I can see MSNBC on. You see these aging leftists with their modern hairstyles. I'm still relevant.
Side of my head is shaved.
Hey, look at me. I'm still cool.
Looks like the Jim Brown character from the Running Man film. Remember that?
It reminds me of the
Deep Freeze.
Deep Freeze, but also the Ice Meister.
I'm Mr. Heat. Those guys.
There was Mr. Heatmeister. What was the other guy? Mr. Freeze. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's got that look, and I'm sure the kids still dig him. All right, let's do this.
More headlines for Friday, September 13th.
Are you meditating, Jared? I'm trying to get your attention.
He's stressed out today. He is stressing.
Are you stressed? What? Is he stressed out today?
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Why are you stressed out?
Man, I just put fires out everywhere. This is what a good producer does
That's right.
here.
He doesn't complain.
When things are going on in the background, I'm putting them out one by
a
one.
good producer puts them out, and the host never knows anything's going on.
That's right. You
Not
have
when I look at. No, you're like. Every time I look over there, he's like typing, or he's doing something on social media, or I don't know what's going on.
Let's just say that everybody needs something during this show.
Yeah? Okay.
Always.
You can complain. You can let me know. You need me to go out there and fight people for you? I'll do it. For you, Jared, I will fight people.
I appreciate that.
You want me to fight? Who you want me to fight?
You seem like more of a lover than a fighter.
You want me to fight Drew? I'll fight him.
No,
Bring him
I
in
love
here.
Drew.
You want me to fight Pete Spriggs?
Pete and Drew are just
Bring
fine.
him in here. I'll punch him right in the face.
Wow.
Look, from Jared, anything.
I love that.
Probably somebody in sales.
You know what? I'm in a good mood now. I'm great.
I'm
By
here
the
for
way,
you. Yes.
I think I answered that question. I think I know what the University of Notre Dame's their leprechaun, what their mascot is named.
Yeah, what is it? Is it Larry the Leprechaun?
I think it's called Clashmore Mike.
Clashmore?
Clashmore Mike.
Clashmore?
Clashmore, yeah.
I have no idea what that means. I think that's his name when he's in drag.
Clashmore Mike is our old mascot.
Yeah? How come people don't get mad that that's a stereotype? That the Irish are always fighting?
Because they're white.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's okay. All right. I get it.
Yeah. Doesn't matter
I know
how oppressed they may be.
I know there was a debate last night, and Joe Biden said this, it's enough for me. Wow, what wisdom.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone. Make sure the kids hear words.
Sure. Make sure the kids hear words.
Wind up their alarm clock so they wake up in the morning for school.
Can we just...
Kids hear words. Kids, stay in your room.
They just got to hear words. Right, Joe?
Words like hello and the and other words and words that they don't get to hear every day.
Here's the words. What the f***?
Those are words.
I don't really
teach them
understand.
words.
What was that beep, Daddy?
That's a dirty word.
I like it the point where he's just like trying to remember technology. So that a phone.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone. Make sure the kids hear words.
Let the kids play with the telegraph.
Fire up the percolator. Get some coffee in an hour after you put it in there.
Just anything. It's at that point, he's mad at himself. He's like, no words, things, phone, television. Kids are watching television now, aren't they?
Yeah. Break out the light bright.
So while
get the Nickelodeon, spin the Nickelodeon, get it ready for the kids.
They're always playing those pinball machines at the arcades.
I don't know if he was going to say phonograph or if he's just rattling things off and was going to say phone.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone. Make sure the kids hear words.
I think he's saying, like, keep your phone off so that you can talk to your kids.
Yeah, I think if you're going to run for president, people shouldn't have to decipher what it is you're saying.
No, I think that's
exactly. I couldn't agree with that more, Eric.
Now, while this was going on, Trump was where, in Baltimore?
He was in Baltimore.
Was he rounding up the rats or whatever?
I was picking up garbage.
You were speaking to House Republicans who were attending an annual retreat.
That's right.
But you said that you would tape the Democrat debate and watch it as a rerun.
That's right. I'll watch it as a rerun.
So
before or after Game of Thrones? Have you gotten through that yet?
Look, I have yet. I've been busy, for one thing, okay? Season 8, I've read all the spoilers, but even though I know it's going to happen and I don't agree with it, I'd like to make my own informed opinion.
So you'll watch that first, then you'll catch up.
No.
Then and no.
No, because I have to watch season 3 of Stranger Things first. Those two things, then I'll watch this debate or whatever.
You think you'll get to it before the next Democrat debate? That's like in a month.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Hey, were you able to get? I know I asked late, but when I was driving home yesterday from the church in Woodstock, because we were. And by the way, thanks to everybody who came out for the victims of Hurricane Dorian. That was fantastic. But I heard. The other white Eric Erickson, played some audio from Trump a couple days ago when they was basically announcing that he's putting the vaping people out of business. Well, I know you don't have to do this behind pantomime. I'm still going to talk about it, and then we can find it later. He's so nervous today.
Well, I know.
Anyway, I heard we didn't get it the other day, but I want to go find this. He starts talking about the reason that Melania is upset about vaping. He starts talking about it's supposed to be his son. But the way that he starts talking about it is just kind of weird. Like, well, she's upset because she has a kid, and that kid it's very strange.
She has a child, and she's really worried about this child of hers.
Is that your child as well?
Picking up the vape.
So before the show's over, I do want to try to go get that, if you can. But he was speaking in Baltimore. And was he assessing the Democrat field?
Yes, he was. In fact, he went after Elizabeth Warren at first. This was kind of funny.
I hit Pocahontas way too early. I thought she was gone. She's emerged from the ashes. And now it looks like she could beat Sleepy Joe. He's fallen asleep. He has no idea what the hell he's doing or saying.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure the kids hear words.
You can disagree with everything Trump's ever said, but you can't disagree with that. You can't disagree with what he just said.
All these old fogies around here. Can't get
Sleepy
their
Joe.
words together.
Sleepy Joe talking about record players.
A lot of people are talking. I didn't watch this debate last night, but a lot of people are talking about the dental plates between Sanders and Biden. Apparently, there was a lot of dental plate movement that was audible to the audience. What do you got?
Then, of course, Trump compared the Democrats at the debate to the media.
It's the Democrats and it's the media. We're fighting two battles. Two. The Democrats and the media. It's as if they're one, because they are one. They're working together. They're colluding. And they're obstructing.
Man, I don't care how much. I don't know if he wakes up at 2 a.m. and comes up with these things, but being able to turn collusion and obstruction the other way,
well, it's what they do. The media.
Is it one or
they're
two?
One
or two,
and they're due.
It's media. Such a gentle little
And the Democrats do peas in a pod.
But you weren't focusing on only the Democrats in the debate. You went after AOC and the squad a little bit last night.
Oh, hey, the greatest hits.
It's incredible. They're standing behind AOC. I call her Cortez because you don't have enough time to go through the whole name. I just call Cortez. They don't like that when you call her Cortez, but her name is Cortez. Too long. Or I call her AOC. Then I call the others AOC plus 3. They don't like that. AOC plus 3.
They don't have names. Look, I just say AOC plus 3.
Is it too long?
It's too long. I mean, okay, listen. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That's too much. Just, pick a name.
Can you just say Ms. Cortez, perhaps? Maybe that'll seem nicer if you say Ms. Cortez.
What is it, the 70s?
Well, she's not married.
Who cares?
She has,
then she's Miss.
She has a hipster boyfriend, but she's not married.
Miss Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah.
Too long. AOC works Cortez. And she gets mad if you just call her Cortez.
Why would she get mad?
Because her name is Ocasio-Cortez.
AOC plus 3. It's incredible, this.
It's
very reductionist.
Is it reductionist?
Yes.
What does that mean? It reduces you to your last name?
What are we doing, fractions?
Well, you are definitely the lowest common denominator.
Whoa!
Up top.
Ouch! Showtime at the Apollo.
Solid burn.
AOC plus 3. High five.
It really is. Does anybody remember Showtime at the Apollo? I mean, the Apollo has been the Apollo forever, but for a while, I think it was Showtime.
Came on after SNL years ago.
Right, Showtime. Well, yeah, it wasn't a Showtime show. It was just called Showtime at the Apollo. And basically, all they did was just sort of, your mama, just back and forth. And the whole idea was you win if you get the biggest burn.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what presidential politics has become now. It's just slams back and forth, usually on Twitter. Sometimes.
That's right, my friends. President Trump last night was busy watching Fox News and not watching the debate.
Kamala Harris, I know. Did you? Yeah. Are you drinking red or white this evening?
Right now, I have a mixture of both. I found 2 bottles in the back seat of my car. It's a homemade blush.
Now, you said the president was like what character from what movie?
Our president is like the character in The Wizard of Oz. The little guy behind the curtain.
Yeah, that character in
Slay Queen.
That character in The Wizard of Oz would be the Wizard of Oz.
That's right. The little man, Slay Queen in the middle. I took him down. I took him down with a zinger. Time to move on.
Donald Trump in office on trade policy. He reminds me of that guy in The Wizard of Oz. When you pull back the curtain, it's a really small dude.
Small dude.
Okay.
Hey, wait a minute. Stop for a second. First of all, I just can't get over that dude in that movie, The Wizard of Oz. You know the one?
The little dude.
Yeah, that's the Wizard of Oz. Okay, I can't get past that. Secondly, it's okay to height shame now? On the left, you're allowed to just laugh like uproariously because somebody's not tall?
George Stephanopoulos was not pleased with that.
No, he shouldn't be. He's like 3'7". I think today that Felicity Huffman, you find out if she gets any jail time for that college thing. Now, the other one is Lori Loughlin, right? So
Operation Varsity Blues, right?
Yeah. Felicity Huffman spent $15,000 to get her kid in some school. Lori Loughlin, is that her name?
Yes.
She's from Full House, right? Which one's from Full House?
Lori Loughlin.
She's from Full House. She spent $500,000. How stupid do your kids have to be that you're spending $250,000 a piece to try to get them into a decent school?
I'm pretty dumb.
Okay, I know you're dumb. This is what's
I just want to do YouTube for a living.
This is what's really dumb. Is if you have $500,000, just donate it to the school.
What do you mean donate it?
Not you, your mother. If you have $500,000, because people who donate wings to a school, right, or like some sort of
chicken wings,
it's so and so hall or something along those lines. Their kids get into school.
And
they're
then
not going to jail.
Did it.
Right. If you donate enough money to a school, guess what? Your kids are going to get in.
Donuts.
Shut up.
What?
Go to hell.
Mr. President.
Well, I'm getting fed up. Getting tired of all this crap.
Go to hell.
That's just what I'm going to say from now on.
I don't know if this is a way to run for re-election.
Go to hell.
Wow.
That's my response to the Republicans challenging me in their primary.
Go to hell.
Did he say that yesterday in Baltimore?
Yes, he did.
A country will go to hell. If any of these people get in, it'll go to hell. Go to hell.
You got that?
Yeah, you're a little sing-songy there.
Well, sometimes I am quiet and I go up and down.
Go to hell.
Hell.
Tim.
Let's do this.
More headlines for Friday, September 13th.
Oh, my goodness.
I have all this audio in front of me. We really haven't done anything from the debate. But here's my choice, because all week long I've been wanting to know if anybody's seen this 30 for 30 about Dennis Rodman, which had to be the easiest documentary ever to make to be interesting. I mean, you've got all the years of footage of Dennis Rodman. So we can go over some more of the debate, or we can go over some of the Dennis Rodman from 30 for 30.
Oh, come on. You got to play some of the Dennis Rodman. This stuff's great. He was the top trend for a while.
Did you watch it?
I saw a lot of it while I was at the gym.
How aware of Dennis Rodman, outside of being our lead negotiator for North Korean peace, how familiar with Dennis Rodman as a personality, as a basketball player? You're 30 years old. Were you?
I definitely followed him when he was on the Bulls. I had no idea that he was on the Pistons before then.
He already won championships with the Pistons.
The Bulls were one of the first teams that I started really understanding how sports worked, if that makes sense.
I don't care. I just wanted to know.
Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls.
Go to hell.
When I was on the Pistons, I looked like a normal person.
For the most part. I think at the very end of the Pistons, you started doing the hair thing.
That's right.
Yeah, and you started getting noticed. Mm-hmm. So Dennis Rodman, 30 for 30. You got some audio for me?
Yeah, he said that he was one of the most influential people out there, more influential than Steve Jobs.
I built something that's going to be, it's more like, you say Jimi Hendrix, you say Jim Morrison, they're everlasting.
Stop for 1 second. I want to point something out. Dennis Rodman always sounds like he's chewing on the words that are just then. It's always something that's about to.
His nasal cavities have collapsed from too much coke.
Well, I've done a lot of cocaine in my life, and also I eat alphabets every day. So when I throw up, I really, literally am chewing on the words.
I built something that's going to be. It's more like. You say Jimi Hendrix, you say Jim Morrison, they're everlasting, rock stars like that. I'm in that category, with Steve Jobs, innovator, creator, stuff like that, way before his time.
Is he eating as he's speaking?
Yeah. I'm as influential as, like FDR and them, some of them.
Einstein, that would be.
Einstein and some of them, because I invented new ways, and people, I'm going to be around,
the thing to do.
Rock stars like, Leo Sayer. And,
you want to, in general, as you're speaking, you want to get the saliva out of the way.
Air Supply, they were big. And a lot of them rock stars, they've been around for a long time.
It seems like he's lapping milk as he's speaking.
Oh, that's why they call me the cat.
No one's ever called you the cat.
Oh, I call myself
his cat. Close friends.
That 30 for 30, went all different directions with Dennis. He was one of the first players, I guess, when he won
North,
an award.
South, East, West.
You're right, Dennis. And I guess you were one of the first players that cried when you won an award. And I guess the GM for the Pistons had to calm you down while this was happening. You won the Defensive Player of the Year.
I wanted this one so bad. All right. Let's go. You do your. I wanted this one so bad. I wanted it so bad, and I thought that was the greatest achievement in the world. I didn't know that you were supposed to cry. I didn't know you were supposed to show that your heart was on your sleeve. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I just about into the heart. I wanted it so bad.
He seems like he's drowning in his own moisture.
God. I want it so bad.
Then, did you want it bad?
I want it so bad. And I said to the guys, give me this. The greatest thing ever in my life. This is better than seeing Madonna naked.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Did they cover that? He dated Madonna for a while.
I wouldn't say dated.
No, but one of the commentators was throwing a little shade at you, saying that you idolized Michael Jordan so much.
Hold on. He's getting revved up over here before he speaks.
Go Go ahead and play something about
but then you refuted it. You said, no, that's not true.
That's funny as hell, huh? Wow, people say that. I respected Michael so much what I did.
Michael, that's nuts, man.
I would love to hear. This is what I would love to set up: a conversation between Keith Richards and Dennis Rodman.
Make that happen, because guess what? Keith Richards, man.
Are you speaking or eating or breathing or swallowing or?
I do all that.
That's funny as hell, huh? Wow, people say that. I respected Michael so much what I did.
That's what I did. But to answer your question, I do all that at the same time. Chew, swallow, talk, spit.
How bad did you want it?
I wanted it so bad. So bad.
That's funny as hell.
Yeah, it's funny as all get out.
Are you snoring? Man? Are you speaking? Man.
I wanted this one so bad.
Eventually, it's just going to be like post-verbal. It's just going to be sounds.
Yes.
I built something that's going to be, it's more like, you say Jimi Hendrix, you say Jim Morrison, they're everlasting rock stars like that. I'm in that category, with Steve Jobs, innovator, creator, stuff like that.
Neil
Way
Diamond.
before his time.
Neil
Stuff
Diamond.
like that.
Neil Sedaka, Neil Diamond, all the Neils. Neil Young.
Are you?
That was S.A.
All right, we'll be back.
That's funny as hell, huh?
All right, Jared Yamamoto. What do you got for me?
Well, the fine folks over at Curbed Atlanta.
Are they fine folks? I've never met them.
I know a couple people that are over there. They're good people.
Really? Are they? Okay, all right, I'll believe you.
Yeah, I like them.
I read some of the Curbed Atlanta stuff. It's like every major city has one, right?
Yeah.
Curbed is the umbrella place, and then they have them in different cities, right?
Yeah, so this Curbed Atlanta article.
Does anybody make any money over there, or do you have to do everything for free?
I don't ask those questions.
Like the Huffington Post.
But I know that, so this Curbed Atlanta article, it was inspired by Curbed Philly, Curbed New York, Curbed DC. So they've already done this before in other cities.
No, they probably do it all at the same time everywhere. Probably everything you read in Curbed Atlanta is the Atlanta version of whatever's in the other ones, right?
Exactly. And now, this time, they've come up with Atlanta's top 10 places for crying in public, and they even mapped it out for you.
See, here's the thing. I saw this article, and I thought what it was going to be, I thought it was going to be a legitimate article. I don't know. They just needed a space. Like, okay, if you were going to cry in Atlanta, these are the places to go to.
Yeah.
Aren't there enough places in Atlanta where you actually see girls crying and men crying?
Outside of Crescent, on Crescent Avenue at 2 a.m.?
Yeah, like after...
He's a jerk!
So, when they're fighting about, just get in the Uber.
Yeah.
Guess what?
No!
I'm
not going with you! You're a jerk!
Guess what?
Oh, wait, Dennis Rodman. We probably saw Dennis Rodman over there.
No.
Why are you crying?
I wanted this one so bad.
Guess what? Sometimes people cry at Waffle House at 2 in the afternoon.
So that's what I thought. Are you okay?
Oh, man. This is one of my favorite. It's Friday.
Okay, you don't have to cry about it, Dennis.
Fridays more than anything in the world, man.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's Friday the 13th. That means Jason's out.
How bad did you want this?
Jason's looking for you. I wanted this better than anything. I wanted this more now.
All right, Dennis. So we... Wow. You just sucked in half the room.
Everything's pierced.
I wanted this one so bad.
Dennis Rodman sounds like a slee stack from Land of the Lost.
Because guess what, Marshall, Will, and Holly? You took a wrong turn on that river. Now you're in the land of dinosaurs.
Okay, so you got to admit this is kind of a goofy setup thing. It's just kind of like reasons to go to places and cry in Atlanta.
Right.
It's not places where we saw this gal here who won't get in the Uber. She cries all over Atlanta.
No, I'm not even trying to cry.
Everybody doesn't have to know our business.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah, like that time we were trying to have sex and you like wouldn't because you like bros all you.
Everybody doesn't have to know.
How long are we going to need to wait here for you?
Just hold on, man.
I'm not waiting. I do not drive drunk women around.
My mom told me not to be with you. I should have listened to her.
Is that Dennis Rodman? Or is that the Uber leaving?
That's the Uber.
I'm calling Jeremy at work. He's my
It's
friend.
9:30 at night. He's in bed.
Hey, bro, this is an Uber pool. Can you get your stuff away from... Hey, can you keep her quiet, please? Okay, I'm having a bad.
Look, I'm sorry, man.
What's your
I'm so
name?
sorry. Look,
What's your name?
honey, don't worry about it. You don't know him. You don't know him. You don't need him.
What's your name?
Come
you
on,
look
let's go.
Japanese.
I think she's gonna vomit. I don't know if you want her in the car.
Let's just get a
Tell
cab.
me you're stupid.
Oh, God,
no! That's my
God.
That's the Curbed Atlanta article I want. 10 places that hot girls vomit in Atlanta.
So sorry. I had bad chicken wings earlier. I feel so much better.
Oh, you ready to
I'm
party?
So sorry now.
Yeah, you ready to party now, huh?
Yeah, let's meet up with our friend Stephanie at that bar that they only serve frozen drinks.
Dude, are you gonna pay for my shoes?
Flip flops.
Dude, I'm sorry. Just here, text me.
Present the bill.
Well, one of those makes sense. Then Claremont Lounge.
My dog.
Okay, look, can we get rid of dog?
He died. You don't
What's
even
wrong? What happened?
know.
What happened to your dog, lady?
Oh, Dennis Rodman.
Oh my God, Dennis Rodman. I grew up with this dog.
Oh,
and she was
that's so sad. Oh, that's I always wanted a dog.
It's like it died.
Why don't you and why don't you come back to my hotel? I'll show you why they call me the worm. We'll cry together. We'll cry. Let's cry.
Do you have anything there?
I got a lot of booze. Come on.
Your dog died when you were 12. There's no reason for us
Hey,
to
man,
be...
it's like
You don't know. You didn't grow up with Mittens. Like Mittens was my best friend.
we couldn't afford
and
mittens.
all my friends made fun of me because the dog's name was like a cat's name.
Guess what? Psychic scars never heal.
What?
What are some of the places that let's go along with their phony baloney thing?
Claremont Lounge makes sense. That girl would definitely be at Claremont Lounge.
I cry when I'm in Claremont Lounge. All my friends think it's a cool place to go, and I'm like, okay.
Zoo
Crying
Atlanta.
outside of Opera, Jared.
Well, Zoo Atlanta. You would cry outside of Zoo Atlanta
This
too.
doesn't make any sense.
Cage. See?
Let
Yeah,
him go.
See? Yes. Let him go. Mercedes-Benz Stadium, if you're a Falcons fan.
If you're a Falcons fan, yeah.
It's hard.
This is a what if you're a fan of the other team?
Well, then you might be crying as well then too. Then they have little 5 points.
This doesn't make any sense. You know what they're doing? They're just finding 10 places in Atlanta and coming up with a
They just
reason you
threw
can cry
a
there.
dartboard at a map and they were like, Kirkwood? Sure.
Yeah, you can cry there.
Oh, come on. The Gold Dome is their number one, which
yeah,
makes
because,
sense.
well, if you don't like the way the Republicans are doing it, you can go there and cry because you're not a
the
Republican.
real answers are quietly on a bench in Piedmont Park.
That's right.
Piedmont
That's
Park
an
is number 10 on the list.
It should be number 1. You cry in the bathroom
I
when you're
don't-
getting busted at night.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't cry unless I get busted.
I don't cry when I'm in Piedmont Park.
Hey, I got a radio show. Can we not make this public? When they say no, I start crying like a baby. All right, that music tells me that we are done on the radio side for the week. But am I done? Are we done? No. For some unknown reason, we're not done when we're done. We've decided to go on and do an extra 30. We call it the podcast 30, and lately, it's kind of been the dirty 30, I must say. So, how can people join us over there?
They can go to 2 places, Eric.
Yeah.
They can go to the WSB Radio Facebook page.
And?
Or the Von Haessler Doctrine Facebook page.
Turns out they can go 3 places. Oh, he was down too
Go to
low.
hell. Go to hell. Hell.
And just click the little red box on either one of those pages. Streaming in both those places. So click the little red box, watch us in the studio.
All right, we're going to come back and we're going to do this again. Thanks for listening to the Von Haessler Doctrine podcast. Remember, you can hear the show every weekday from 9 to noon right here on 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Like current events and want to be the smartest among your friends? Then the Power Pod is the show for you.
The Power Pod is a weekly recap show where we cover the current events of the week.
It's a show where we're not afraid to get serious.
And we're not afraid to have some fun.
So try us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, the WSB Radio app, WSBRadio.com, Stitcher, CastBox. Okay. Anywhere there are podcasts, we are there. So power up with the Power Pod.
What's the pop culture podcast that features 3 aging Gen Xers and 1 dirty Zennial? It's Radio Labyrinth, hosted by Tim Andrews, Jeff Leboff, Stephanie Swain, and Autumn Fisher. Movies, TV, podcasts, comic books, music, and a labyrinth of tales about ourselves. You'll enjoy comedy, improv, impersonations, and recommendations for the coolest stuff you can watch, listen, or read. Check out Radio Labyrinth on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you catch your podcasts. Check us out at RadioLabyrinthPodcast.com.
Cardi B.
All right, welcome to the Podcast 30.
And second of all,
I'm Eric Von Haessler.
Second of all,
that's Tim Andrews. J-Rad is on the tunes, rocking the tunes. Autumn is farting out of her mouth.
I can't. I messes up because I'm not. My thing is on a teeny bit of a delay, so I can never do things on the beat.
Oh, really? I thought you just had no rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's good. She's good. What are we going to talk about? You got any more Curbed Atlanta articles we can talk about?
Well, let's see what they've got here.
No.
Just read articles, headlines from Pace.
Could dropping in-town speed limits save pedestrians? E-scooter rider lives.
Oh, now we got to worry. Now everything has to change for the e-scooter riders.
Yep.
You know, it didn't take long, but they're now the most important people on the streets.
They are.
I mean, Atlanta was burnt down a long time ago, back in the 1860s. Ever since then, the new Atlanta that arose from the ashes, the phoenix of the southeast, ever since then, all the people in between then and now don't matter, because right now, the most important people are the people on the e-scooters. And let's start with them. Let's make them happy and then work out from there.
Exactly.
How about that?
Well, if you don't like that one,
sense?
If you don't like that one, Eric,
I don't like anything.
What about mapping Atlanta's 10 tallest towers from downtown to Buckhead?
Who gives a damn?
10 tallest towers.
I'm one of them.
Go to hell.
Go to hell.
I want to be a writer.
Well,
I think based on some of the things
how hard is
see,
it? You open your thing, you get a blank sheet,
and then I think, why is white the default
you don't want to do
color?
No, you don't want to do it that way. What you want to do is you just find out something that there is.
Turns out your paint is racist.
And it said something like,
true though.
You do anything. Like, I tried the 7 highly effective habits of effective whatever, and here's what happened.
There's a YouTube channel that keeps showing up in my feed that's like, we wore each other's bras for 7 days.
They're just running out of ideas at this point. I wore my friend's shoes, and here's what happened.
Right.
Let me
I
guess.
licked my best friend's eyeball for a week straight, and this is what happened.
And they just make things up, and then they report on themselves. Like, I don't know if they still do it on Bustle, but my favorite ever on Bustle was the girl who said, I didn't wear any feminine pads or anything for on my period.
Yeah.
And here's what happened. Nobody's interested. We know. The
you know
reason people have been doing it for so long is because they already know what would happen if they didn't. They would,
I didn't wear any feminine period products for a week straight, and I ruined all my clothes.
Yeah, we knew that. That's why for years people have been, they care about their pants. They don't want to ruin them.
Yeah, and if people don't
month.
have that, like women in weird rural areas, where in like other countries that aren't as whatever, they're putting like rags in their underwear.
Yeah. I do the same thing.
I know when you have your other blood.
Oh, when you have your back?
When I have my man blood?
Your back blood.
Yeah, his blood come out as wherever.
I have to cut out of my wherever. His eyes, wherever. I call it my my man blood.
I had a non-existent work-life balance until it made me sick.
Oh,
that's from Bustle.
Yeah, that's some bustle. All of our writers, it turns out, will only hire you if you're a victim of some kind, and you can write about your victimhood. Remember
I
that
had
one?
a creepy uncle. You're hired. Say no more.
Can you write about stuff like that, like being a victim because you're a woman?
Sure.
You're hired.
You know, people with the French tip manicures really trigger me.
Can you write about that?
Sure.
How about if you go and stay around those people for a week and then just tell us what happened?
Oh, God, it was so painful.
Lucy Hale tells us how she learned to love her IUD.
Oh. It's just filler. Yeah. It's just filler. I did this, and this is what happened to me.
One more.
3 crystals to help you vibe with fall.
Wow. Wow.
They got to be losing money.
Wow.
They got to be losing money. And then you look at the other part. The only reason they're not losing money is not too far away from that on Bustle is hair tips, hair care tips, makeup tips. Okay, we're still
DIY
living.
hair mask.
Yeah, they've got this one too. Stacey Abrams is 10 steps ahead of you. Isn't that great?
I highly doubt that.
Great. It
What
is
kind of
great.
headline is that? What kind of headline?
It is great. She's
That
better
doesn't follow
than me.
any rules of headlinery.
No, it's just she's better than us. We can't even begin to understand the goodness and the smartness.
I don't want this, but I hope that we, boil down to just like headlines that start, you guys, come on.
Well, they almost are, because the ones that start with no, such and such isn't such and such, and here's why. Like, what are you? Is this a headline?
No, your dad is a racist, no matter how progressive he seems.
And here's why.
And here's why.
Or the ones that supposedly tell you this is all you need to know about Trump's speech last night. Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah.
I'll bet it's gonna cover it from all sides.
7 ways to support a friend who's non-binary.
Are there 7 ways? I thought
only 7.
I thought that there was only one way to support anybody. It's all the same, isn't it? You
no.
You listen to them and you give them your support. You say,
no
"Hey,
more,
I'm
no
with
less.
you, man."
What about this one? People love that James Corden did a segment calling out fat shaming.
Oh,
What
wow.
people?
Well, who are the people?
Fat
My
people.
friends. My friends
My
love
fat friend.
Yeah, I have fat friends, so I can speak on this a little bit.
Yeah, but you're always putting pictures of yourself on your Instagram in your bikini, showing
'cause
off
I'm
your
hot,
really
'cause I look hot.
Right, but you're always going on about how you people who are fat are wonderful.
No, my really big fat friend is really hot too. She's just really big and fat.
Does she put herself on Instagram with
She's like curvy beach babe.
Okay.
Just underneath that, they have.
She's really sweaty though.
Have you noticed that most of the guys usually go for you first?
Well, there's nothing I can do about that.
Fat girl summer.
Just underneath that James Corden story, 24 cheap things to treat yourself to right now.
Cheap to treat yourself. Well, that's okay. That's not that
that's
bad.
pretty normal.
That's
But
pretty
just
normal.
underneath the James Corden one. So I guess
You know what? At least it's not. I feel like years ago it was Cosmo and things like that putting out, like 49 ways to please your man.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that kind of stuff is. At least this is garbage. That's kind of offensive.
First of all, there's no man who has that kind of attention
Yeah,
span.
it's all garbage.
Men are not that difficult.
Men are one button that you just press button.
There's really not a big mystery here on how to please a man.
Tickle behind your man's ear. He's just like, when is she going to stop doing this and take me
Stop
somewhere
annoying
else?
me.
Yeah, what are you doing?
This sucks.
What are you doing?
Yeah, right above your boyfriend's butt crack is an erogenous
There's
zone.
almost nothing.
No, a little lower than that.
Just go right for it.
I would say there's nothing more annoying than when your girlfriend or your wife, when it's obvious they just read about something or they saw something and so, what's this?
Mm-hmm.
What's this?
I bought some special pillows for tonight.
I don't need special pillows.
Oh yes, you do. It's gonna help you reach things you've never reached.
I'm cool with where I reach. It's very simple.
Good for my lumbar.
It turns out you're getting like orthopedic sex.
It must be because Cosmopolitan was written by women. There was an assumption that men were like women, and there were all these different things. Now, women are like that. Now, you need to know 49 ways to please a woman. You might get lucky with 1 or 2.
I've heard this. This is the analogy for women: is that women are like the cockpit of a 747.
Yeah.
and you have to learn that cockpit. And then if you're not with that woman anymore, you go to a different 747, and it's a whole different setup.
You got to go do the
some
virtual.
of the switches are the same, right?
Yeah,
Some of the things that worked on the other plane work, but not everything. And so you have to learn this one now.
Yeah,
Men are just one big red button in the middle. Bam.
I'm good.
Yeah.
You know enough where you could fly any of the planes. It's a matter of not whether whether you can get a smooth landing. That's what it's all about.
If they enjoy the flight.
Exactly.
You can fly the plane. But did they have
Go
a nice
ahead,
flight?
Tim. Who cares if they enjoy the
I
flight?
usually don't land this quickly.
I'm done.
I'm not always a puddle hopper.
But then I met you.
Jared doesn't know anything. He's never had any problem with anybody.
Nah, I was a sexy boy.
Maybe a few smells after a night of dancing. That's all he's ever had to worry
Yeah,
about.
we need to speak to the people that he's been with. We can't take his...
they all love
Men
him.
don't have a great perception of sometimes what
They
women are
all-
faking or not, or, you know.
Well, they don't like his choice of curb articles, but other than that,
That's true.
That's
Listen, if you've had sex with a woman and it's a one-night stand, she probably faked it.
What?
Yes.
No.
Ladies, let me hear you.
Hold on a second. But as a
We're
guy-
taking calls. 1-877
187
Cars for Kids. What's our number?
127.
Go to Joe 30330 and help me in this fight.
I've never gotten it on with a person for one night and had an orgasm.
You know why?
I
You know
faked
why?
it.
You want to know why?
Maybe
Why?
two.
You want to know why? Because you didn't leave the record player on.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure the kids hear words.
Yeah, I left my Morse code thing at home.
You got words? Make sure kids are hearing words. You can get a dictionary or a book.
By far, still the front runner. Country of 330 million people.
A country will go to hell if any of these people get in. Go to hell.
You know, hell. You know, my dad said that, he thinks that like an upturned broom is going to win against Trump.
He's fooling himself.
I know. But then I thought, well, that's kind of what we have right now, isn't it? Like, with Biden, a little bit.
That's what Biden is.
Yeah. It's like, I'd like to mop the floor, but I'm facing the other way.
I know your dad's a big liberal, but you need to remind him of the last election and how sure he was that Trump couldn't win.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
do not engage.
I guess now in his mind, he's thinking, well, everybody knows now because he's been president, and everyone your dad talks to agrees with him. And so it seems like everybody's going to vote against him.
Yeah.
And Biden still seems like the best possibility because people have heard of him. Like he's not a complete mystery.
Yeah.
And there's some idea that like maybe he can, like Obama will really be the president. Like he'll call, hey, what should I do? What should I do about this? And
Hey, Barack, what should I do, buddy?
Joe.
Try being president, Joe. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I've been there, done that, and Hillary was going to put me on a Supreme Court, and I'm just waiting.
I watched that Seinfeld and Jamie Foxx comedians in cars getting coffee, and they talked about how the presidency is the only job where you don't need any experience.
That's true.
Where, like, have you ever been a president before? No. Have you ever run a country, been a dictator? Anything? Nope.
Well, that's true about anything, right? Any politics. All you got to do is show up and win.
Yeah.
And, nobody knows. I don't know. Can he handle the water system? I don't know. Does he know anything about that? I don't know. He's great in the debate.
I know some people.
That's what people don't understand is you can be a really good speaker. You can win a debate with the wrong position if you're debating somebody who's not a very good debater, but they have the right position. And so people with charisma and good speaking skills, I mean, basically the kind of person who can sell you a car can sell you on the fact that they could run the country.
Like Kennedy and Nixon.
Yeah.
Most people were in line with Nixon coming out of the Eisenhower administration in 1960.
And remember, Nixon was the youngster back then.
And he was sick.
Yeah.
So he was in this debate with Kennedy, and Kennedy was just, all of the typical Kennedy stuff.
We need to have a wonderful way of making sure that people can do whatever they like.
And then Nixon was sweating on TV.
Right.
But people who listened on the radio, they thought by a majority thought that Nixon won the debate. But
I had the flu.
Well, that's why Biden says to listen to the radio.
That's right. Yeah. Or the record player phone.
Got an 8-track player in the house. Put one on.
The record player phone.
I mean, Trump has changed politics so much. Because we used to think that a lot of people, myself included, when he said the thing about McCain not being a war hero, we thought it's done.
Yeah.
Based on, not because we hated him or anything like that, just based on all the other people who had ever run for president, it just usually that would be the kind of thing that people would just, you couldn't go after soldiers or people who were considered heroes. And when Trump became president, now people go, all right, well, it doesn't really matter what you say. And we've gotten to the point where this doesn't disqualify you.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone. Make sure the kids hear words.
I woke up this morning because I didn't watch it, and almost all the reviews were, Biden had a few slippery moments, but he held his own. Yeah. He did very well. That's because of the new world we're in. There was a time where if Bob Dole would have done that in a primary, he never would have gotten the nomination. Right. It's a whole new world now. That's why we just need celebrities from now on.
Who's the next one then?
Well, you got me for 4 more years, so whoever's after me.
Well, if you win, it'll be 6 more years, pretty much. Almost 6 more years.
Whatever. You know what I meant.
Hey, wow. When did...
A little early for that.
Joey.
No, wow.
Friday.
When did Joe Biden...
Monday night.
When did Joe Biden first go to D.C.?
Hell.
Not go to hell.
72.
1970. So, okay. I always forget. Did he go right as a senator, or was he... No, the Senate.
No, he won the Senate?
Won the Senate. Okay. Just think of this. Jared, look at me. So you think of me as really old and gross. I know you don't say that, but quite often behind me, you're like, okay. But you think of me as an old dude. I'm 55.
I think of you as middle age.
Okay, but I'm old.
Yeah.
Right. Compared to you, I'm old.
Yeah.
I mean, if I got too close to your girlfriend, she wouldn't just be creeped out because I'm a guy. She'd be creeped out because I'm an older guy, right? I'm in that class of older people.
Well, she did get an inbox yesterday saying that somebody would pay her $500 a day to be a sugar mama.
Who?
Or to be a sugar daddy.
Tim.
Nope. Sugar baby.
Sugar babies.
A day?
$500 a day. Yep.
That person's
Did she
lying.
say yes?
No, of course not.
Come on.
Did she say yes? Well, do you need the money?
Who?
Tim Andrews. Was that you?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like, act surprised.
I like the fact that he answers me. He has such a guilty past. He defensively goes, no, it wasn't me.
We're not sure if it's somebody, if it's a listener, or we're not sure if it's...
could have been, can't say it. I think we know who we think we know.
Hey, buddy.
In 1972.
Go to hell.
In 1972.
Yeah.
I was in 3rd grade. That's when Joe Biden became a senator.
I was 2.
Wow.
I was -10.
Old man Von Haessler, 55 years of age. I was in 3rd grade when Joe Biden became a senator. That's pretty old. That's pretty old. I don't know what my point is, other than the fact that he's old.
He's too old, you're saying.
I'm not saying he's too old because he's only a few years older than Trump, but Trump has just got that, I don't know, he's obviously got this energy. Now, there's people who are, have you seen that thing online where some people are saying it's called Trumpgate, G-A-I-T?
Yeah.
About the way he's walking. Some people are saying that it's some sort of sign of some sort of dementia. But I looked at it, and I'm not a doctor, but I didn't see much. Like, look at this thing right here. And it's like, you really have to look to notice it.
They're looking for everything in any way to make him look bad.
Because he seems crazy to so many people.
Well, he kind of is, but it's fun.
That's probably the kind of crazy he is. If you knew him when he was 45, it was the same crazy.
Yeah.
It's not about age, but he just has some people in their 70s have an amazing amount of energy, and some people don't. I guess most don't, probably. Trump has, and I don't know if he sleeps 3 hours a day. He's tweeting by 4:30 in the morning.
He's a napper.
I set the.
You take cat naps?
I take cat naps.
I set my Twitter feed to notify me whenever he tweets something, so you can tell, when he's
sitting on the toilet, I think, because you get like 10 of them in a row. Donald Trump retweeted. Donald Trump tweeted. Donald Trump tweeted. Donald Trump tweeted. And they're always at weird times,
That's so weird.
12:30 at
Isn't
night.
that weird? That
Yeah.
the most powerful person in the world is communicating with the world while they're taking a dump.
Yep.
That's weird.
They have nice toilets at the White House.
Oh, you had nice toilets at Trump Tower, I'm sure.
Well, they were gold. These are nicer.
That's just amazing to me. If Julian Castro, sorry, I don't know what's with the hiccups again every Friday.
You have them now?
Every Friday at 12:20.
That guy really angered me last night. Go ahead.
Well,
I
he's
didn't like how what he did to Biden. I'm not even
It's not going
supporting
to help
him.
him either.
He's trying to get noticed.
Yeah.
I thought it came off as tacky.
Well, quit putting grease in your hair. You ever see him? He's all slicked back.
He's got the goop.
Yeah, the goop.
I put a little goop in my hair. You know,
Yeah, but you look cool.
I put goop in my hair.
Yeah, he puts goop in his hair.
Look, his hair looks like he just went swimming.
You guys talk amongst yourself. I've got the hiccups.
I don't think it's going to help him. I mean, he's at the end of the stage as it is already. I think Marianne Williamson would be much better on the stage.
Did you guys see the thing she said last night?
Yes.
On Fox News, I sent it to both of you.
Yeah, I saw it. I know that she's been complaining about Democrats lately.
She said that the
Republicans are being nicer to her than Democrats.
Yes. And she goes, I never thought I'd meet. They're so mean.
They're so mean.
There you go.
You didn't.
I don't appreciate it. Everyone is nasty.
You didn't know that people can be mean on all sides of the politics.
Well, I felt like we were all in this together, and there was a sisterhood, brotherhood sort of commune situation. But it turns out everyone is a vicious viper.
They're evil, horrible people, Marianne. Why don't you come work for me?
The darkness that is, what are you saying? Dark energy or whatever?
Dark matter. The dark matter that is Donald Trump. We don't know what it is. It's a mystery.
Purge all the negative dark stuff, and I can show you how to make money.
Now, I am interested because maybe I could be the yin to your yang.
Whatever, weirdo.
Andrew Yang?
Who?
Oh, did you hear what he had to say about that?
What?
Oh, give it $1,000 to select 10 select family.
By the way, after I asked you this,
My campaign will now give a freedom dividend of $1,000 a month for an entire year to 10 American families, someone watching this at home right now. If you believe that you can solve your own problems better than any politician, go to yang2020.com and tell us how $1,000 a month will help you do just that. This is how we will get our country working for us again, the American people.
He's like doing radio station giveaways. How much free gas is he still
Caller number 5 will get a pair of tickets to see me and $10,000.
He's not giving away free gas, Andrew. Are you not giving away free gas, I hope?
No, because I am green.
You're giving away free suns.
Yeah, I'll give away. I can't even do it.
Yeah.
My voice
My
is kind of shot
campaign
anyway.
will now give a freedom dividend.
My campaign will now give a freedom dividend to anybody out there who drives an electric car.
I asked you this morning. I'm just going to hiccup my way through this. I asked you this morning. Is that legal? And then when I was at my constitutional, after that, I saw, I think in the New York Times or somebody, there's an article already. Isn't that buying votes?
It seems like it.
He's up there on the stage. No, it can't have any effect because he said 10 people. But the law isn't written with that kind of context.
That's a freedom dividend.
I understand it's a freedom dividend, and it's still a private vote, so he can't be in there and know. But certainly, I'll bet you I know who they're going to vote for if he's giving them $1,000 a month.
I entered. I'm not voting for him. I entered. I'll take that free money.
Did you explain why?
Yeah, I said I'd like to have $1,000 a month because I need it.
What? It's like an essay thing. You gotta.
Yeah,
I thought it was just like they pick one randomly.
Yeah. I need it.
Yang Scholarship.
Oh, we're struggling.
How much? I forget. What is he from? Why does he have his money? What did he start? He's a Silicon Valley. Somebody look it up. He's a Silicon Valley startup company of some kind.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. The fact that he made that stage, I think, stunned a lot of people. I think they were.
No, it doesn't stun me because he's got a 2% of people who really like him a lot. He's a niche candidate. I mean, like Kamala Harris moves around from 4 to 6% or whatever.
I'm up and
He's
I'm
the founder
down.
of Venture for America.
I think that's probably a PAC. What did he make his money from?
It's a nonprofit that focuses on creating jobs in struggling American cities.
See, I think that's what he did when he became a politician. That's not how he made his money. He didn't become a millionaire or whatever he is on a nonprofit. What was that, Kamala?
I don't remember. I'm a little tipsy. We are having a meeting of our book group this weekend, and I want all the girls to come over. We're going to talk about books. We are going to talk about all the books we like, and I can recommend a few.
I'll bet you, Kamala Harris. I have a good read on people. A couple of glasses of wine, and she's a blast to be around.
Yeah.
I could feel that. I could see that. She has no idea why she's running for president. She can not figure out what you want her to be.
Yeah, it's a calling.
Just
for her.
tell
She
me
just wants
what
to do
you'd
it.
like me to do and say.
A lot of people just said, you should run for president. It's like Beto. A lot of people say, you should run for president. And that's the reason that he ran for president. And Trump won. So people are like, maybe I can win. And that's the only reason. But you got to have a reason. Trump actually, you can disagree with him. Excuse me. But he...
I ran for president, Eric. I'll help you out, okay?
It's real cute. It's like a little boy. Like, I have something to say.
Renee says that hiccups are a sign of a terrible disease, Eric.
Are they? Really?
Yes.
So anybody who ever does hiccups has a terrible
She's trying
disease.
to shock you.
Oh, that would shock me out of the hiccups.
I'm trying. I can't use the thing that I was pregnant. Remember, I tricked you last time you had the hiccups.
Yeah.
You got real scared.
Tim dropped his pants. That time it worked. That time worked.
Shock him, Tim.
Take a look at it. Laugh at it. Laugh at it.
Yeah, he likes it.
Laugh at it.
Meanwhile, it's kind of funny. I go between.
Just keep bringing stuff up. Because once I get the hiccups, it's like a 20-minute thing.
I'm going between the Von Haessler Doctrine stream and the WSB radio stream, and they're all, giving suggestions and stuff on how to fix the hiccups.
Well, there's a million things.
But then I go to the WSB one, silent. Nothing. Nobody's saying a damn thing on that
Really?
one.
They don't care?
No.
Let them die, they're thinking. Let them die.
When are they going to get back to talking about politics?
Hey, hold on. You tell. What's the guy's name? The FBI guy that got in trouble.
Comey.
No.
Oh, McCabe. Andrew McCabe.
Andrew McCabe's going to jail, and I got to listen to this guy with the hiccups?
Lock him up.
Jennifer
that
says...
didn't get much play this morning anywhere.
No.
Including here.
This is a debate.
No, but the Department of Justice...
It's the Georgia Bulldogs weekend.
The Department of Justice recommended that Andrew McCabe be indicted. Andrew McCabe is the FBI guy in the whole collusion
Falcons have their home
thing.
opener on Sunday.
I don't even mean just here. I was looking up at CNN, MSNBC. It was not Fox.
He won't be able to afford a lawyer because he doesn't have a pension.
Yeah, you took the pension away. Remember that?
It.
They like fired him like a day early or something.
That's right. Don't mess with the Trumpster.
And he's been in the FBI for his whole life. No pension. He wrote
Jen-
a book, though, like they all do.
Yeah.
Jennifer says, you kind of sound like Kamala Harris. Sounds like you've had a couple too many
I've
drinks.
had a couple, baby.
I have had a few in my day. Yes, I have. And you know what's the problem here is you have a president that is so awful to everybody.
He's like...
Unlike me.
Who are you like?
I am wonderful. I am like Obama and Hillary wrapped into one.
I feel like you and Marianne Williamson could have a drink together.
I don't like her. She is
I don't understand why I have been nothing but pleasant to you.
You are one of those earthy girls. She wears patchouli. Why can't you?
Nothing's wrong with patchouli. You know what
No,
will happen
it
is that I won't get dementia as an old lady because of the aluminum in my deodorant. Thank you.
Well, I don't wear aluminum.
You don't know that you do, but you do. Your deodorant is chock full of it, and I just have to tell you, ma'am, love will win.
Kamala was telling me that she's like that guy in Superman.
Oh,
which guy? Which guy in
You know the one
Superman?
with the cape
Yeah,
and
which guy?
the S on his chest?
Yo, I'm like the guy in Superman who wears the cape.
Superman.
The guy in Superman the little dude who wears the cape.
Yeah, that little dude.
You mean Superman?
He flies. I can't remember.
She got such a response to that. Nobody in the audience recognized the idiocy of that. I can't get past it.
There definitely was a
I'm
slow
sure
moment.
my audience is like, what? So what? But I cannot get past, because that was rehearsed.
Of
Like,
course.
she knew what she was. That was going to be a zinger. You know, it's like that guy in The Wizard of Oz. that at the end.
Behind the curtain.
Behind the curtain. The Wizard of Oz?
Believe me, the way the
like
crowd...
that guy
It's like the cat in Cat in the Hat that wore the hat.
You mean the cat in the hat?
The way the crowd responded and the way the moderators were looking at her, because they had a perfect shot. First of all, I don't understand what lighting they were using, but I mean, Cory Booker looked like he was white.
Really?
And Elizabeth Warren and
White
Joe
out.
Biden.
White out.
Yeah, they looked like they were dead. They were like ghostly white, how white they were. Julian Castro looked like he was a white guy.
Really?
Yes.
So-
I don't know what was up with the lighting that they were using for ABC, but
Did George Stephanopoulos look white?
He looked, well, actually the lighting on that side of the moderators wasn't that bad.
How many moderators were there?
4.
Why are there always... There's 10 people on stage, 4 moderators, an
the guy
audience...
from Univision.
Jorge Ramos.
Are you going to apologize for deporting people?
I'm here to ask you to apologize for things. I find it so insulting. What a Hispanic reporter should be a reporter who's Hispanic. Why does a Hispanic reporter have to always ask questions about Hispanic issues? I find that to be offensive. And why he would even see himself. It's like, hey, well, I'm a reporter. Sure, I'll show up. I'll ask questions. Maybe about the deficit. No, nobody's interested in that. The idea that this question has more gravity because I'm Hispanic. First of all, you're a rich reporter, okay? Let's get that. You are not connected to anything other than whatever neighborhood. That's idiotic. It says that all Hispanics are alike and only a Hispanic. It's so offensive. Just ask questions.
He flustered Biden to the point where Biden looked at him and went, I'm vice president.
Yeah. You know what? Why not? None of them will mess with Obama. Sit him down for an interview. None of these reporters are saying, hey, you know what? We've reassessed some things about your immigration policies.
They had to go
We want
back.
to talk to you. So they're going to take it out on Biden, who was the vice president.
Well, he was the white guy.
Aha, you see? I don't know what that means.
Very
but
white. He was the very white guy last night.
He's the white guy.
Nice translucent, buddy.
He's the white guy who's the only person up there who has any kind of African-American support, and that's why he's going to win the nomination, I guess. I thought Warren for a while, but not unless he just completely falls over. he has to, like,
I'm down
spontaneously...
here on the ground, but that doesn't mean I can't be your president.
Oh my God. We just did a new poll. You're still up by 10%.
Oh, that's good.
Bye.